Good morning out there. You are watching The Morning Show here on the Global Standard News Channel, Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati.
And I'm Bumbai Mutiniri Ekweyong.
And I'm Rafah City. We've got a great show lined up for you today for the next 3 hours. So grab a cup of anything you like to drink in the morning and just sit back, relax. We'll put on a good show for you like we always do.
The politicking ahead of the 2027 presidential election in Nigeria has intensified as we have witnessed various political realignments taking shape. The ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, is the party to beat, it appears, as its ranks have grown stronger over time and parties like the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have lost many of their members, further weakening the core of the party. We have also witnessed the emergence of the African Democratic Congress, with major political heavyweights identifying with the party as the platform is now being identified as the major opposition, and with the recent adoption of ADC by the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, the party is now the one to watch as we approach the 2027 elections, some people say. On the show today, we'll be bringing you an exclusive interview with Ayo Fayose, where he discusses the political terrain in Nigeria as we gradually approach the 2027 elections.
Also, we shall be engaging Dr. Alero Roberts, a public health physician. We'll be discussing the issues surrounding the death of Chimamanda Adichie's son, Nkanu, and how we can improve public health in Nigeria.
We'll catch up on news making headlines across the globe. Adefem Akisara brings us updates on the foreign scene. We'll also review today's newspaper headlines across the globe. Rhodes Sadiri give us an update on global business outlook. Aaron Akejola will be taking us through sporting activities across the globe, while Aniezi Osako will fill us in on what's trending around the world, highlighting impactful stories on our milestones and our good news report. It's going to be all that and a whole lot more today on The Morning Show.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. We begin here at home, specifically in Rivers State, as cracks are emerging within the rank of Rivers State lawmakers over the plan to impeach Governor Sim Fubara and his deputy governor. Two members of the Rivers State House of Assembly are calling on the Speaker and other members to withdraw the impeachment process. At a media briefing in Port Harcourt, Sylvanus Nwanko, representing Omuma constituency, and Peter Abe, representing Digema constituency, say the call became necessary following several appeals from stakeholders within and outside the state, pleading with lawmakers to toe the path of peace. They enjoined their colleagues to have a rethink and consider adopting other measures to address the alleged constitutional infringements.
We have called this press conference to appeal to our fellow colleagues to tamper justice with mercy and to see how we can resolve this matter apart from the impeachment proceedings. We are begging, calling our colleagues to reconsider our step and see how this matter can be resolved amicably, even though the governor and the deputy governor has infringed on the Constitution. But we are appealing on them to reconsider our stand.
We, as people, as members of the 10th Assembly, we want to plead with our colleagues to please reconsider. This, we have received calls from leaders, from people in Rivers State, outside Rivers State, and we see that you don't raise the axe and swing it as you raise it. So we plead with our colleagues to reconcile.
Now, in other news, the leadership of the National Revenue Service, NRS, and top officials of KPMG Nigeria, a global professional services firm, yesterday held a high-level meeting to address concerns and disagreements arising from the implementation of Nigeria's new tax laws. The meeting, which took place in Abuja, came amid an intense debate within Nigeria's business and professional community over the implications of the new tax framework, which is among the most ambitious fiscal reforms in recent years. In a report titled Nigeria's New Tax Laws, Inherent Errors, Inconsistencies, Gaps and Omissions, KPMG Nigeria had expressed concerns over some aspects of the laws, including the taxation of shares, dividend treatment, non-resident obligations and foreign exchange deductions, and warned that these could affect businesses and taxpayers. However, this day newspaper learned that the executive chairman of the NRS, Dr. Zach Adedeji, used the meeting to clarify some grey areas in the new act, while the KPMG team noted that their earlier opinion on the new tax laws had been misconstrued and expressed regret over the misunderstanding. Now, finally, in politics, former governor of Sokoto State and senator representing Sokoto South, Aminu Tambuwal, has blamed Nigeria's worsening economic hardship and democratic decline on flawed policy choices, particularly the abrupt removal of fuel subsidy without a framework by the government of President Bola Tinubu. Tambuwal, who spoke during an interview on Arise Primetime, explained that the current administration's decision to remove fuel subsidy was carried out without adequate planning, stakeholder consultation or social buffers, arguing that Nigerians are paying the highest price for that policy today. He also stated that a compromised electoral process, which no longer truly reflects the will of voters, poses a significant challenge to the polity. The former governor used the opportunity to say that he will not run for the 2027 polls and says with the use of electronic voting, ADC will defeat President Tinubu. While Tambuwal also denied reaching a pact with Wike to be his running mate for supporting him at the 2019 elections and admitted that Nigerian political parties lacked ideology.
It's not completely decided by the electorates. I can say that, and without mincing words. We know quite oftentimes that at coalition level, be it at the polling unit, at the ward level, at local government level, at the state level, or even at the national level, things happen that misrepresent what voters actually voted for. Politicians, yes, as I said in my earlier remarks, they try to find corners to cut. So wherever there's a loophole, politicians take advantage of that loophole. And INEC, from day one, in terms of the day of the election, be it failure of either beavers or failure of whatever technology, and then inability to transmit, even to start the election on time, and then transmit the results, count the results and transmit them. In between, you find INEC officials being compromised. I wholeheartedly support any reform that will improve the electoral process of Nigeria, including electronic transmission. Even if I, assuming I'm going to contest an election in 2027, will lose to that process, right? I don't mind. I and Governor Nyesom Wike had not had any pact of he being my running mate, because it has been.
Yes, it's been said that he wanted to be your vice presidential
not at all
candidate.
He never requested that. I must be fair to him. Intervention. First, the statements from President Trump and the subsequent missile attack had some effect on the government of the day. They now had to maybe sit down and say, look, what's happening? And then you could see that, yes, there is some positive impact of all of that on the way the administration is now thinking.
All right, well, those are some of our top stories for today. Tax back in the front burner, of course. As expected, we knew this would be a big conversation throughout the year. And River State and politics from Senator Tambuwal.
So let me go to Tambuwal first. It was his 60th and happy birthday and felicitations to him once again. But a couple of the things he said, that it is not the people's votes that really count in the Nigerian electoral system. Sadly, he's correct in that. But the question I'd like to ask politicians is the fact that, have they not been beneficiaries of manipulation of elections? Which politician can come out to boldly say in this country as we speak today that they've not manipulated votes in their favor one way or the other? So if you say it today because you're in the opposition, when you are also where things are in favor of what you're doing, do you call out that evil at that same time? Secondly, what he said about the economy and the removal of subsidies is not far-fetched. I mean, we've made the argument here ad nauseum. The fact that the president then promised that when you remove subsidy, it is going to free money for the economy. But reverse is the case. In fact, when we're even paying subsidy, we're seeing money to run budgets to an extent where we had a better budget performance than what we had today. Look at what came to Federation account last year. Only about 10 trillion. That's why we are running multiple budget cycles concurrently. And guess what? Do you know in this budget, you were trying to say something about it yesterday, and let me expatiate. In this budget, they are told the MDAs not to add extra spending because you know that they had already stretched the 2025 budget into 2026 March. But the NDAs went to add extra 3.5 trillion. What we do not have money for. Look how we are hiving off assets. We are selling assets, hiving off assets just to be able to get money. Hive off assets over 108 something billion. But if we add that to it, 189 billion. If we add that to it, it's a far cry. So what it means invariably is that with that 3.5 trillion by the MDA, that demand will not be met. There's a higher possibility that even the 2026 budget will be carried into 2027. So where's the revenue? But you see, the argument this government kept on making then before they pull out subsidy is that, that 3-4 trillion that we're paying on subsidy, we'll just add it in. But it never added. What did it add? It added inflation, it added suffering, it added a lot of devaluation, and that's it. Until today, a lot of people cannot recover. So we have said that it was a policy somersault. Did they iterate the policy properly? They wouldn't listen. They will go ahead and do what it's just like this question of tax. And so I'm happy. Yeah, KPMG has gone to meet them and say they are raising the explanation. But a lot of people have raised the explanation as regards this tax issue. Take, for instance, I think it was one analyst that was talking yesterday that I heard that they were talking about the rent relief thing. You are giving rent relief of 500,000. In a place like Lagos, go to close to Songwater. Would you see a one bed for 500K? You'll be lucky to see it. Go to a place like Surulere, would you see a 1 or 2 bed for 500K? So a lot of people have been crying about these things happening as regards the tax, that, see, he doesn't feed into the problems. He can't even solve a lot of the problems and everything. But the government has said, okay, we're going to go ahead. President Tinubu has already said, we're going to go ahead. The discrepancies is not enough. They've been able to hoodwink and bamboozle and shout at KPMG. KPMG definitely will go and try and repair relationship because, they have a business to run. And we are all we are all looking at it and seeing it as an air of triumphalism for government, those that want to parrot narrative. They should continue. But it doesn't stop the problems on ground. And that's just it. We talked about these policy flows. You remember we had arguments about this policy flow. I said something where I was going to put us in a lot of problems. Election time removal too put us in a lot of problems. But the government said they want to save revenue. I mean, we've seen the end of it. It's not hardship. As regards the lawmakers, I mean, we all know that they was not going to sail through this Fubara impeachment thing. I'm sure those that did it just did it to be able to spite the system and shock the system. Because funny enough, some representative from the Rivers State government have even said that there's been no communication to the Rivers State governor as regards the impeachment. He's not received any of the notices and all of that. 2 lawmakers are already pulling that. Yeah, internal squabbles will go on. But like I keep saying, this does not solve the problem of what is going on in Rivers. The final solution to the problem in Rivers will be to take power away from one of the two power gladiators, and that is Wike or Fubara. If you do not do that, you will have a lot of peace. I hear Pandef has gotten into it now. They will talk, they will bring them together. The next day, they will still go in the bag, abuse themselves, call each other names and all of that, and it continues. Except President Tinubu makes that decision. Except if President Tinubu wants to play a game in such a way that he will use two of them for the election, get his election and say, go and exploit yourselves. So it's a big problem.
Okay, on Rivers, I've continuously, repeatedly, severally insisted that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu must get involved. And it is not a wrong thing that we have raised stories that the president has already summoned the main gladiators in the matter, Governor Fubara and Godfather Wike, to see how the problem can be solved. I argued that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu cannot afford a wide Port Harcourt or a wide River State. But on the heels of that submission, we now hear that two persons, the minority leader in the House of Assembly, Nwankwo, and Peter Abbey, who is representing the Gema State constituency, have both come forward to say, in the interest of stability, peace, and concord in River State, reason should be allowed to prevail. There should be a recourse to dialogue. I think that the two gentlemen, have made a very wise intervention. Some of the reports in the media indicate that they are wicked persons, but as members of parliament, they have the right to hold their own opinions, and that the opinion that they have held, in my view, will seem to be, within the province of reason and not aggression. That's one. Number two is the point, however, that two persons out of the total number of lawmakers saying we think reason should prevail does not matter much. You need 1/3 of the House of Assembly to initiate the process. That already has happened. You need 2/3 to say that the process is valid and that they can go to the next stage. So 2 out of, how many of them are there? About 21, 22 of them in that House of Assembly. May not make any difference. But I salute the courage of Nwankwo and Peter Abbey to express their opinion that the people of River State deserve peace and stability, because the people, their interest is the lowest common denominator in this matter, no matter the preferences of the power mongers involved in the game. Now, on the question of the other question that you raised, the KPMG and the Nigeria Revenue Service meeting. Well, just to raise a number of questions. KPMG is saying that they have observed some inconsistencies. They've observed certain errors dealing with non-resident obligations, tax, forest deductions, taxation of taxation rates and all of that. Where was KPMG before now? One is that during the hearings on the taxation reform, there was public hearing. Was KPMG part of that process? Number two is that were they even consulted at all? Being subject area experts, were there subject area experts involved? I know Mr. Taiwo Oyedele will say yes. I know Dr. Zach Adideji will say yes. Now the issue is about the gazetted official gazette of the NTA, as those tax laws are otherwise called. And now KPMG comes forward and says, oh, we have observed certain things. The response from Oyedele is that the KPMG, which is a tax, audit firm and all that, accounting firm, which should understand the issues, do not understand the policy intent. I'm quoting Oyedele directly. However, I think it's important that both parties, KPMG, now speaking after the fact, and the relevant state authorities are meeting and trying to collaborate. Oyedele, if I remember very well, is saying that what they are talking about are just mainly clerical errors, minor adjustments that do not directly affect the substance of the laws. They've also met with Zaka Didiche. However, the point here is the residual point, that a law is a living document. That law is already in operation. It can only be fine-tuned, it can only grow when people point out observations, when they point out issues. So there's nothing, in my view, extraordinary about this. There are people who are even arguing in Nigeria that the law on bigamy, which is a dead law, in Nigeria, should be revisited so that, the matter can be properly addressed. After all, in Akwa Ibom State, I read the story saying that Governor Umoeno I said that single girls must not follow married men. Well, how he intends to implement that, how he determines who is a single girl, who is a married man,
What's your concern? What's your concern?
It's in the province of conjecture.
What's your concern?
No, just wait. I'm just giving you examples, how laws evolve. Okay, finally,
Tambuwal.
Senator Tambuwal, former governor, two-time governor of Sokoto State, turned 60 on the 10th of January. He decided to mark the occasion by having a colloquium. And the major message that came from him is that Nigeria is in peril and that Nigeria needs urgent attention. His main argument, which is not necessarily partisan, is that there are many issues, afflicting us, problems afflicting us that we need to address. And he said it's a collective responsibility. I don't see a problem with his submission. He said also that the electoral system is in need of reform to put the people, the electorate, at the center of it. He, being an experienced politician, says that, it's not what the electorate wants that ends up as the result. And he should know, having been in politics for a substantial part of his career. And he blames INEC, he blames officials. He talked about electronic transmission in his conversation with Charles Aniagolu of Arise News yesterday. I think you cannot really fault him on the things that he has said. He's talking about how we can make this country better. And that's an unexceptionable argument. However, the APC in Lagos, they've issued a statement saying Tambuwal is this, Tambuwal is that, he's losing relevance and all that. Please, APC Lagos should not behave as if they are planning to take the job of the spokesman of the president. Can they just focus on Lagos? What is their business? But what is established is that Senator Tambuwal remains politically relevant. And we congratulate him on his many achievements. For those who think some people are not newsworthy, this man is particularly newsworthy and is an achiever. And Baba Obasanjo made the point by saying he's humble on top of everything, humility. That's one lesson that I think others can learn from him. And as for the political theater that Lagos APC is talking about, they are the ones creating the political theater, not Tambuwal. They should be well advised in that regard.
All right. Well, before I begin, of course, you said in jest, and we like lighthearted moments, but we just, of course, want to clarify the fact that the statements that had been attributed to the deputy governor of Akwa Ibom State are in fact false. The report emerged from a Facebook post by Obiavel Albert Abigo, and they say this bill is, of course, it doesn't exist.
So married men can follow single girls in Akwa Ibom and elsewhere.
They said Akwa Ibom has more serious business to focus on for now. So other than what married men choose
for that
to
clarification,
do with
because I know a lot of bachelors and even married men who are already disturbed.
or some maybe who
I was worried about the implementation.
Of the absolutely. So just of course it was on a lighter note, but just to ensure that our viewers are aware of that debunked report. Now, where do we begin? Let's begin in Rivers State this morning, where I think everything is pretty clear and straightforward. However, one thing that stuck out to me was the fact that these two lawmakers who've now said that they're withdrawing their support for the impeachment says that this is despite the fact that they still feel that the governor is guilty of gross misconduct. Now, my question is, what happens in this instance where there are 8 allegations, leveled against the governor? Now, those who are involved in the peacemaking process are saying that impeachment is a last resort constitutional remedy. And in this instance, it's being used as a power play, as a way to exert supremacy. But my question is, should Governor Sim Fubara be implicated in any gross misconduct of any nature? Does that mean that he's going to get away scot-free because we're going to blame the power tussle that's happening within Rivers State for anything that he may do? Are we giving him a blank check to misbehave for the remainder of his tenure because everything will play out in the media and in the public space as a power play between himself and Nyesom Wike? So in doing so, I think it's very important for us to ensure that as much as, yes, it is clear there's a power tussle, there's a fallout between Godfather and Godson. However, accountability still needs to hold fort in this instance. We still need to be aware what is happening with the funds of the Rivers State. What is happening with regards to the dissolution of power, the separation of powers? What is happening with regards to the appointment of individuals in that state? Are due processes, the due democratic processes that the Rivers State people deserve, are they being observed? So it's very important for us not to lose focus of the fact that he is still the governor and he should still be held accountable. And if he misbehaves, he shouldn't be allowed to hide behind all the other theatrics that are happening in order to escape being held accountable for any issues that may arise within the management of the state. For the purposes of time, I quickly move on to NRS and KPMG. And again, what really stuck out is the fact that KPMG, who are global specialists in this area, were saying that they didn't quite understand some areas in the tax laws. That in itself is a major red flag. If the experts who deal with these issues around the world are saying that they are struggling to grasp some of the areas in the final version of the laws, then that means that there's room for review to simplify them, to ensure there are no gray areas, no loopholes that will cause problems for us tomorrow. And I think that should be taken in a very good spirit, that ultimately the outcome of this was that we struggle to understand it. And I say that if the experts struggle to understand, what about the layman, you and I? Of course, we always know that the true test of a law is in its implementation and in its practice. And there'll be several questions around this as we continue to engage with the law. But this is something that I think shouldn't be taken lightly and should be engaged with. I can hear the music playing. I finalize with the statements from Senator Tambuwal. I'm going to be a bit of a rebel today. Please don't yank me off air, Director. Just 30 seconds. Now, he's making a point that many of us have made ad nauseum, as Rufai said, which is the fact that subsidy is removed. Where is the social policy framework? Where is the industrial policy framework? Funds were freed. And yes, the argument is that they went to the state governors. But because there's no framework around how we deal with social policies, the governors are also failing to account for how they are translating this extra funds into social welfare or into the public good. Similarly, some governors are saying, well, the federal government is still enjoying over 52% of the budget. So there's enough blame to go around. I close by saying, ultimately, Senator Tambuwal made the point that Nigerian politics is Machiavellian. We make this point often, but what is it? It's the fact that moralistic politics doesn't work here. Only politics of power and strongmen. Where does this come from? It comes from the fact that we had a military government successively, and they politicized the use of raw power. And that still trickles down today. And this, I think, is a merit to those who argue that the 1999 Constitution needs to be reviewed because it emanated from a place in Nigeria that was undemocratic. Well, on that note, it's now time for a short break on the morning show. When we return, we'll have Adefemi Kinsanya join us for the World Brief and review top stories in today's newspapers. Do stay with us.
Solar energy has improved the lives of Nigerians in the sense that we can have a cleaner environment and thereby preserving the earth for future generations. Our mission is to ensure we develop and deliver locally acceptable, contemporary, and innovative solutions in partnership with global organizations to ensure that we become the first and the trusted choice for Nigerians. So the option of having a solar solution at just 30% equity already ensures that you have money back in your pocket, because then you can then pay on a monthly basis over a period of time, which if you compare with the fact that you're also paying grid is actually more affordable over a period of time. Then you can have your access to power under your control at every point in time for up to 10 years.
Mama.
My smally.
Gen Z mama we carry better swag.
You dey wine. You be like say plenty credit don't overload for that your size.
Credit now water. You say no now.
Glow Talk Master. My little lioness.
Where they retire senior lions.
I dey make one better dress where you go wear for this holidays.
When I land them, I go finish you with plenty kissing.
Who you dey kiss dey finish on my credit? Who be this?
Mr. Man.
Ah, Mama.
Why they disturb us now?
You almost give me heart attack.
Feel like say you never hear about Glow Talk Master.
We get free data. Let's video call her. Hi, Grandma.
Free on Glow Talk Master. Talk for 6 minutes and get 6 minutes free. Plus 15 megabytes of data free. Simply dial *606#. 2,000 naira for new customers. 1,000 naira for voice. 1,000 naira for data.
My baba dey always say, for market, every day gets your own wahala. Sometimes people go want scam you. But Baba say, no be by gra. You must cool down, dey sharp. Because with OPay payment, your money go enter sharp, no storage. But inside market, anything fit happen. One day, we no see phone again. My Baba remember OPay USSD lock, dial *955*131#. Baba press am, lock account. From market woman to driver, from small boy to big man. Now OPay, they protect people like us. My Baba fit sell, press phone, collect POS, and still they teach me price. And when they don't tire am, go just tap OPay Life Guard. We no fear for this our hustle life. Now OPay be the people payment shield.
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita, prepare them to win every day.
Every business creates data. Sales, payments, movements. Sparkle turns activity into information you can understand. And insights you can act on. Sparkle doesn't just show you what happened, it helps you decide what to do next.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now for World Brief and the review of some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Adefemi Akinsanya, our Ijebu princess. Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Reuben.
Good
morning, Vivi. Good morning,
Adefemi. I need to spend more time with you so that next time I'm in this Ogun State sandwich, I can contribute to
now
the
you
flavor.
Because
yesterday you guys were singing. I was just
Ogun State parapol. You're now in the sandwich. Good morning to you.
You now speak Yoruba. Yes. So you are on your way to being fully assimilated.
There we go.
All you just need to do to assimilate.
We don't have much time, friends. We don't. Good morning to you, viewers. Let me tell you what's happening around the world. I'm not lazy at all. Thank you. Good morning to you, viewers. Let me tell you what's happening around the world. The US President Donald Trump is waging war with Iran, this time using another weapon. Tariffs. A 25% tariff will be placed on countries doing business with the embattled Middle Eastern nation. Now, he announced this plan on Truth Social, and he says, effective immediately, any country doing business with the Islamic Republic of Iran will pay a tariff of 25% on any and all business being done with the United States of America. This order is final and conclusive. Very clear words there. Now, tariffs, if you are wondering, they are fees. In this context, they're going to be fees paid by US importers of goods from those affected countries. Now, Iran, looking at the Iranian context, Iran has already been heavily sanctioned by the United States for years. And we know that despite that, they export things globally in terms of oil and gas and petrochemicals. But in terms of the United States and Iran, what Iran exports to the United States are very small niche products. So things like handicrafts, goods, artistic goods, painting, sculptures, and the like, food products too. So not that much. So all of this is happening while Iran is again seeing the biggest anti-government protests in years. At least 648 people have been killed. The nationwide internet blackout continues, and there have been calls from the United Kingdom and other institutions to recognize the Iranian Revolutionary Guard as a terrorist organization. Now, Trump did say on Monday that Iran does want to negotiate, but the official line from Tehran throughout is that though they are not looking for a war, they want the United States to know that they are fully prepared for one. Meanwhile, as Trump makes his presence felt outside the United States, his administration continues to stop travelers coming in. Now, in fact, since Trump's return to office in January of 2025, we are seeing that over 100,000 visas have been revoked by the US State Department. Now, 8,000 of those visas were affecting students, and 2,500 were against specialized workers. They lost their legal status. All of that culminating in this round figure of 100,000. Now, when we're looking at the reasons for this, they're looking at drug possession and distribution, alleged child abuse, drink driving, and visa overstaying ratios. So many of those things are issues of students coming into contact with law enforcement and vice versa, or whatever the case may be. And again, as I said, drug possession. Also, hundreds of foreign workers did lose their visas due to things like, as we've seen, alleged child abuse and specialized workers not having the correct legal status. Now, the Trump administration has been tightening visa requirements, announcing changes in visa policies and implementing travel restrictions on multiple countries, including right here in Nigeria. Now, stepping outside of this American debacle now, let's take a look at the International Court of Justice. They have just started hearings in a landmark case brought by the Gambia against Myanmar. What is happening is that they have been there have been allegations of violations of the Genocide Convention over the military's treatment of the Rohingya minority. Now, the proceedings were held at the Peace Palace in The Hague, and they marked the start of the merits phase in this case. And this is coming after years of preliminary legal arguments. Now, speaking on behalf of the Gambia, the country's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, his name is Dauda Jallow, he told the court that his country brought the case after reviewing credible reports of the most brutal and vicious violations imaginable committed against the Rohingya, they are a Muslim minority in Myanmar's Rakhine province. Now, he did go on to say, that is the Gambian Attorney General, he went on to say that by all measures, this case is not about esoteric issues of international law. It is about real people, real stories, and a real group of human beings. Now, if we cast our minds back to 2017, we do know that this case alleges that Myanmar breached its obligations under the Convention of the Prevention of Punishment of the Crime of Genocide over so-called clearance operations. Those operations were carried out by the Myanmar military in 2017, and they prompted over 700,000 Rohingya to flee to countries like Bangladesh. Now, Zaid Ra'ad Al Hussein, he was the then UN High Commissioner for Human Rights back in 2017, and he described the situation as a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. Now, what we're seeing now with this case is that over the next 3 weeks, the ICJ judges, they will continue to hear oral arguments from both sides. They'll examine witnesses as well as experts, and then they'll consider whether Myanmar breached its obligations under the Genocide Convention. Myanmar is expected to begin presenting its own arguments later on this week. And then lastly, let's go to the Horn of Africa. Now, Somalia has cancelled all agreements with the United Arab Emirates, accusing Abu Dhabi of undermining the country's sovereignty, its national unity, and political independence. Now, the rift between Somalia and the UAE stems from Abu Dhabi's tacit support for Israel's recognition of Somaliland as an independent state. Now, the UAE controls a very important deep water port and military bases in different areas of the Horn of Africa. So we're looking at Berbera in Somaliland, which has been a point of contention between Mogadishu and Abu Dhabi. Now, according to Somalia, the decision applies to all federal agencies and regional administrations, including bilateral security and defense agreements. If we put this into context, now the cancellation of these agreements also includes cooperation in these strategic ports. So you've got the ports of Berbera, Bosaso, which is kind of across the border in Somaliland, and as well as Kismayo, which is in what other countries will see is just Somaliland here. So essentially, the situation is further being complicated by Saudi Arabia's accusations that the UAE helped a Yemeni separatist flee to Abu Dhabi. This is just the bottom of Yemen just here. So you can see strategically why the Gulf of Aden and this Horn of Africa area is quite strategic. Now, what they're saying is that Abu Dhabi did help this person flee through the port in Berbera. Now, Somalia has described this as an alleged unauthorized use of Somalia's national airspace and airports. So that's what we're seeing here. But before we get into our discussions, let's take a look at our newspaper headlines from across Nigeria and indeed the world. As ever, we begin with the front page of This Day. And This Day leads with the report that two Rivers State House of Assembly members, Sylvanus Nwankwo and Peter Abe, have withdrawn from the impeachment move against Governor Siminalayi Fubara and his deputy, urging dialogue and peaceful resolution of the crisis. Meanwhile, South-South leaders under PANDEF have set up a reconciliation committee chaired by former Attorney General of the Federation, Kanu Agbabi, to broker peace and prevent further political instability in Rivers State. Today is Tuesday, and Tuesday means that we get Onikepo Braithwaite's article in the legal insert of This Day, and it's called The Advocate. Now, in this week's edition of The Advocate, Braithwaite examines the impeachment processes against Siminalayi Fubara in Rivers State and his deputy also. Now, they are outlining the constitutional process for removing and warning that any deviation could invalidate the entire exercise. She's looking at this from the legal perspective. She also argues that while allegations of gross misconduct must be handled strictly within Section 188 of the Constitution, political power struggles rather than public welfare are driving this crisis. And she says that President Tinubu is essentially, he will emerge as the only political beneficiary of this type of conflict, regardless of the outcome. Now, let's take a look at the Vanguard this morning. The Vanguard reports that the ancient town of Badagry in Lagos State is now in mourning. That is following the death of Oba Babatunde Akron. He is the 89-year-old paramount ruler and permanent vice chairman of the Lagos State Council of Obas and Chiefs, whose 48-year reign was celebrated for visionary leadership, cultural preservation, and fostering unity, with condolences pouring in from President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and also former President Olusegun Obasanjo, as well as the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, and other prominent Nigerians. Moving on to The Punch this morning. The Punch reports that tensions are escalating in Osun State. That's as the People's Democratic Party and a network of civil society groups accuse the sitting ruling APC Congress chairman of illegally occupying local government council secretariats, while the APC insists its officials are lawfully reinstated. This is highlighting a clash over tenure, court rulings, and the role of police in this ongoing uncomfortable process. Moving on to the Daily Independent. The Daily Independent reports that NAFDAC has assured Nigerians that all Nestle infant formula sold in the country is safe for consumption. They have clarified that the ongoing recall in over 50 countries affects only UK batches not registered in Nigeria. That actually uncovers a whole different kettle of fish, but we'll get back to that. Now, locally approved SMA and NAM products remain unaffected. That is what they say, so they want people to be easy. Now, the New Telegraph also reports that the National Association of Resident Doctors says it will review the suspension of its proposed strike in 2 weeks. This is following partial government concessions and ongoing concerns over working conditions and health policies. Let's take a look at the leadership. Wonderful. So the leadership reports that the United States Department of State has revoked, as we said in the World Brief, over 100,000 visas, including around 8,000 student permits and 2,500 specialized working visas. And they've been citing encounters with law enforcement for criminal activity as part of the broader efforts to enhance public safety and enforce immigration laws. Now, the Daily Nation of Kenya, we haven't looked at this paper in a while. So this is what draw our attention. So the paper is reporting that the ODM, that's the Orange Democratic Movement, has approved pre-election coalition talks ahead of the 2027 polls, signaling a possible alliance with the ruling United Democratic Alliance, as the party weighs its electoral strategy and internal divisions following recent leadership disputes in the country. And finally, let's take a British paper. Okay, we've got the Eye, and the Eye is reporting that the UK government is considering following Australia's lead and banning social media for teenagers under 16 years old. Well, that brings us to the end of our newspaper review and our World Brief. Love to hear your thoughts if we got the time.
You can see the same Zahawi that was begging for a peerage has gone to join reforms because he wants to be popular and he wants to be relevant. The same part of the Tory bunch that destroyed the UK. But let me go. Oh, Aminjo, we don't have time for a chat. Okay, I rusted now. Oh, we gotta go. Okay, yeah, that's about it.
All right. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Edefemi. I hope some of these issues can resurface tomorrow so we can delve deeper into them. Well, you're watching The Morning Show, and still to come, an exclusive.
Obi is the only traction. Obi is the only meaning. Obi is the only factor. Obi is the only person in ADC that matters. Even if they don't feed Obi, if ADC fails to feed Obi, their case will be worse than they are coming together.
An exclusive interview with former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose, where he discussed the political terrain in Nigeria. Do stay with us.
Hello, everyone. I'm here with the woman that makes all the things happen in Fidelity Bank, the MD of Fidelity Bank.
FNITCC was conceptualized in 2022, and the whole idea was to create a platform where our exporters lead with the global community are able to showcase their products. What we do in the banking industry is to always try to meet the needs of our customers, that we could see that the exporters were struggling with. They didn't have a global stage on which to showcase their goods. We did so much initially in terms of capacity building. After that, the products were made, were put in proper quality, packaging and all of that. So the next step naturally is to take it to the global stage, especially if you focus on making world-class products.
Like they say, build it and they will come.
Yes, they will, don't worry about it. Build it and they will come.
All right, ma'am.
We are Fidelity. We keep our word.
Good morning. Today's weather will be sunny with a high of 31 degrees.
Alexa, music, please.
Playing workout music.
Striving for mastery? You need speed, precision, and clarity of purpose. They all add up. Talent is not enough. You've got to prove that you're able to take advantage of unlimited opportunities when they come. And to do that, you need plenty of data. Scratch that. You need unlimited data. And there's no better provider of unlimited data
Access granted.
than your all-powerful Glow router.
Whether home or office, enjoy unlimited data on a Glow router. Dial *312#.
You know, I've got unlimited eyes.
Glow Unlimited.
I'm still watching.
In most parts of the world, girl child are not recognized in the family. I hope all this problem holding down a girl child did not hold me down.
The idea behind the project is to identify schools that we think the parents are not economically empowered to sponsor their children to schools.
In demonstration of our commitment to reducing that number, we've come here today to provide some of the essentials that we believe would help the children in school. We worked with different schools in 5 states across the country, and we reached out to 15,000 children.
I want to be a food scientist, and Polaris Bank is helping me realize this dream. I'm perfectly excited.
Every winter, the world's most influential people come to Davos to negotiate the future face to face. Money, energy, war, AI, trade, innovation, and all else. Africa will be there as well as Nigeria. The decisions made here will shape what happens to everyone else. As always, Arise has a front row seat, not to admire power, but to interrogate and shape the future. Join me, Rhoda Odiri, Rolake Akinkube Filani, and Anise Osakwe. Trust us to be your guide to the 2026 World Economic Forum. Watching closer, listening harder, and translating the moment into what it means for your life. Because the decisions made here don't stay here. They travel into markets, into borders, into prices, into policies. Stay with Arise News in Davos 2026. We're alive, relentless, uncompromising. If it shifts the world, you'll see it first on the world's standout global news channel, Arise News.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Mention the word crisis. Within the political terrain, and one-party state readily comes to mind. It used to be Nigeria's ruling party, even touted as the biggest in sub-Saharan Africa. Then the PDP became the nation's main opposition party. But right now, it is no longer at ease within the People's Democratic Party, and things have really falling apart. In this no-holds-barred interview, I had an exclusive chat with PDP chieftain, former governor of Ekiti State and seasoned politician Ayo Fayose. He bared his mind on the PDP crisis, the tussle between Nyesom Wike and Sim Fubara in Rivers State, and why Peter Obi is the man to watch in the build-up to the 2027 presidential election, amongst other issues. So sit back and watch our exclusive chat with Chief Ayo Fayose here on The Morning Show. Oh, good to see you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us on Arise News. Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us on Arise News. Chief Ayo Fayose, the Akpesin of Ado Ekiti, the Oshokomole of Nigerian politics.
Thank you very much.
Well, Your Excellency, many developments in the country. One of it is the latest development in Rivers State with the threat that Governor Sim Fubara will be impeached. This is the third time that is receiving that threat.
No, that's the second time.
Oh, well, the papers reported third time that, attempts have been made repeatedly to impeach him. And now he has survived so far. We don't know what will happen this time around. But you've been quoted in the media saying that he will need fasting and prayers to be able to survive. This is not a spiritual thing. This is just a political conflict between specifically a godfather and a godson, between the executive and the legislature. What has prayers and fasting got to do with the destiny, political destiny of Governor Fubara?
Well, I'm not from Rivers, but there's no hiding that Governor Wike is my friend, and there's no hiding that I know Governor Fubara. I relate with him in the early part of his administration before the emergency rule. And again, it is public knowledge that I was a former governor for about 8 years, and I was equally impeached, rightly or wrongly, until the Supreme Court vacated the impeachment.
You were impeached 2006, you were reinstated 2014.
2014, exactly. So, but more to it was the pronouncement of the Supreme Court that the process was, but the whole thing didn't follow the due process. And that cleared me of that impeachment. But I was impeached, I was removed, and I went to exile. But to the glory of God, I came back, like you said, in 2014. Now, let me take you back to when Governor Fubara became governor. They had a dinner for him. I was at his swearing-in ceremony. Then we went for Governor Wike's dinner or lunch to say goodbye, Wike, as governor. And we went for Governor Fubara's dinner to say welcome, Mr. Governor. You recall there that I came out. I had a short speech. But before that short speech, I told Governor Wike it is important to reinforce certain things to the hearings of Governor Fubara, going by the trend of ingratitude, betrayal of trust, people forgetting so soon. Oh, he said no, Governor Wike said, oh no, Fubara cannot do that. Don't worry yourself, don't say nothing. I said, but I can still wish the people well. I can wish him well. I said, okay, I'll give you only 5 minutes. They will give you 5 minutes. So I came and I said there, Your Excellency, Governor Fubara, you are here by the grace of your brother, the former governor. And today you are Governor of Rivers State. And I was able to remind him that it's better for you to seal all your windows because patronizers will soon come. People who lead people astray will soon come. Seal your door. Don't wait for people to come and say things to your ears that will destroy your relationship in the first 4 years and ultimately for 8 years. But if you open these doors, you begin to see spirits And don't follow a trend and fight with Wike. Because if you do so, by Wike's antecedent, these problems will continue indefinitely. So I admonished him. Because it is quick to forget what life is all about. Governor, the office of a governor, I was a different person at the first tenure. I was a different person at the second tenure. The youthful exuberance, forgetting yourself can put you into so many issues. People who are not part of the training of a lady will come and influence the life of the lady and destroy it, like I said on some platforms. So let me tell you, that was prophetic because that happened not too long after. And it became an issue between Governor Wike and Governor Fubara that led to his removal. That is spiritual. It doesn't have to be said it's spiritual, but it's an advance warning. So also, my telling him that there's a window, there's ample opportunity for you to close this and solve this problem. The price for peace is cheaper than the consequences of war. If you don't do it, it will only be left in the hands of God because you can't take away the powers of the House of Assembly. During my first tenure, I inherited the House of Assembly of the APC in Ekiti because our election is the off-season election. It was a tough experience. They would have taken me out the second time. I had to use wisdom, carrot and stick. I had to manage everybody for me to survive. Okay. So that's what I meant by that.
Okay, it's good that you acknowledge that you are the friend of Governor.
Very true.
Governor, now Minister Wike,
yes.
Which is more or less saying, well, you know, you are on Wike's side in this conflict. Because...
No, I'm not on Wike's side on this conflict. Let me take exception to that. I'm an insider, so to speak. I'm an insider. I was in Dubai for a surgery about a year and a half or two, about 2 years ago, when this incident happened and the assembly was brought down. The first person I called was Governor Fubara. I was on my sickbed. I said, Your Excellency, what's going on here? Because, my brother, when you know the early lives of a young woman, you know how to appreciate the woman when she gets older. Let me tell you, I asked Governor Fubara. I said, I heard you saying, it's my Oga that is causing the problem. I said, which Oga? Which Oga within what time to what time? You are barely in office for 6 months. Can't you tolerate this, your Oga? Which goes back to the warning I gave. The admonition, so don't let me say warning. So what I'm saying to you is I'm not on the side of anybody. Yes, I've said that I'm Wike's friend. Here, if you ask me anything Wike is wrong, I will say to him privately. And when you ask touching questions, I will have to say it publicly.
Okay, is Wike wrong? Because the bone of contention is Governor Wike saying that, look, even to Ajibola Basiru, the National Secretary of the APC, that Rivers State is a no-go area. Anybody that comes to Rivers will get his hands burnt, and that he is the Lord and Master of Rivers State, and that the Rainbow Coalition will put everybody in positions, and that Fubara will be removed, whether he likes it or not. The witch cried last night. The baby died this morning. Yes. So you have Minister Wike, FCT minister, instead of concentrating on that, he's going from door to door, clan to clan, bedroom to bedroom, saying that I'm in charge here. And he's campaigning for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
May I say this to you and to Nigerians? There's always a beginning. You brought up, like an example I have given, you brought up your child. In God's fair, you trained him, gone to school, had the best of all, and somebody says, I want to marry this girl. Others are saying, she's this beautiful girl. She's that. The credit goes to you. If you have left that girl rotting, ordinary carpenters and people who have no capacity will be chasing her.
So a man who wants to marry must have capacity.
You must have capacity at different levels of life. Life is by level by level. God has graduated this life like a pyramid. You have some, Ashwaju is up there, the governors, the ministers, everybody is at the level. You can't tell me, majority of times, you can't tell me a man who is down the ladder wants to marry a queen somewhere. They will tell you don't have the capacity. So let's go back to the issues. Everybody must have helped everybody in life. But God in himself, God says, I hate ingratitude. I will only fight with what I have left. You can't sack Wike from Rivers politics. You can't sack me from Ekiti politics. I'm not supposed to say what I want to say to you now, and I will say it to you. It's about Ekiti politics. I was in this house 3 years ago. The current governor of Ekiti is of the APC extraction. I am of the PDP. He came to this house. He said, leader, he had called me that I would want to visit with you. And I said, you are welcome, Your Excellency. He came here and sat on the chair and said, Your Excellency, I want to beg of you. I want you to come to my support and my aid. I want you to stand by me in this government. I didn't go to him. He's the governor. He deserves all honor. I didn't go to him with all due respect. And he said to me, I go around the state. Everywhere I go, they will say, bow, 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 which is his pet name. And when 2, 3 people say bow, 7 will say, oh, Shoko, 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 which is my own pet name. Which to him, I still have hands and legs everywhere in the state. Yes, I'm no more the governor, but that is a line of wisdom. That's a part of wisdom. I was taken off my feet. And I said to him, whoever has taught you this, has taught you the right thing. And if it's the leading of God, you are well led. I will give my support to you. That's why you see, when the governor was having issues in APC, I stood my ground. I went to Ashwaju. I told Ashwaju, this is the man that can win the election. The governor is doing well. My own position is always clear. Fubara, my governor, all of them got their strength from other people. Then let me go back to my governor too. Like I said, there are a lot brewing between Godfather, Godson in most states. But it is wisdom that makes the sitting governor remember that I am the governor, I'm the father of the state. Look at Kogi. Why are we not having issues in Kogi? Why is Governor Kogi being very humble? Whatever you say about Yaya Bello, he doesn't want to hear it. Whatever anybody comes to say to him about Yaya, he remembered the day Yaya Bello gave him that platform. And I told my governor, whatever Governor Fayemi must have done to you, or whatever way you feel, don't worry about that. Remember the day he gave you that platform. Don't say ill of him. Cooperate with him. And he thanked me for such advice. Okay. If it were other people, they take advantage of the situation.
Chief,
go ahead,
what I'm hearing is that you are saying Godfatherism in Nigerian politics is not something we can ever discount.
No, you can't.
However, in Rivers State, Governor Sim Fubara has the support of the people. The elders, the young people, they are saying that Minister Wike should allow him to function. After all, he enjoyed his own 2 terms in office. Now he's in Abuja. He should concentrate on his work in Abuja. Now this controversy over who is 001 in Rivers State. The party, the chairman of the APC, Nentawe, and also Senator Ajibola Bashiru have both said it is Fubara who is the leader of the party. And then Governor Wike, Minister Wike says, no, he cannot be the leader of the party. That he, Wike, is the leader. Who is the leader?
Let me say to you, there's what we call a nomenclature. When I was governor, when I'm coming, the traditional rulers, the leaders of thought, people that matter in the state, they get up, Fayose is coming, the governor is coming. They rise up and say the governor is here. And nothing is called to order except the governor is seated. Yes, that is the office. There's a difference between the office and 001. What brought about the 001? Who gave you the platform to be calling yourself 001? Who gave me the platform if it's not my dad from day one? It is a sad narrative for Governor Fubara to be struggling. It will be a sad story for my governor to be fighting fire on the street. No. Rather, he should manage the situation. You see, Ekiti people said, those who give you life are the fathers of those who give you money. Those who give you life, the person that prevents you from dying is the father of the person that gave you wealth. Because if you have no life in the first instance, wealth will not come. Nobody will recognize. Who is Governor Fubara? I respect him as my governor. I said, I respect him as a governor. Sir, a governor goes before people and prostrate. I go to a Wiz Palace, I prostrate. I go to a certain place, I prostrate. What does he take away from me? Even if Wike is saying he's the leader, it's not to the mouth of Governor Fubara to be contesting that. We all know the truth. You don't know Fubara 3 years ago. You never heard of a Fubara 3 years ago. Please, like I said, I was supporting Austin Okpara. I was Austin Okpara's person. And I was just by Governor Wike to mold his opinion to support Austin Okpara. Towards the time of the election, in the car, when I was asking a pertinent question, who is the candidate? Who will be the candidate? Governor Wike told me, Fayose, I know where you belong. I know where you belong, and I'm not going that way. I'm going to Fubara. I never knew Fubara. I don't know who he is. Let us call a spade a spade. The moment Adam, in the Garden of Eden, realizes that he was naked, he became permanently naked till today. God made Adam in nakedness. We were given birth to in nakedness. The moment we begin to realize we're important, I am the governor. Who is a governor? A governor is a creation of some people. It is a creation and influence on some people, which is a major influence at the coming of.
Well, where does this leave the people of Rivers State? The people who voted. This is a democracy.
Me, you said they should wait for another part of time to vote. Americans has conceded their powers to Trump. Trump is using the powers today. You understand? For them to say a word about Trump, they should go back to an election. And may I say to you, the same people of Rivers State voted for that House of Assembly. They have transmitted their powers to that House of Assembly. And let me round that up for you to get it very clear. The people of Rivers State, as wonderful as they be and want to make a choice, I'm not here to come and tell you the people of Rivers are with Fubara or with Wike, but I will not tell you they're with Fubara. I won't tell you that. You understand, my brother? Wike has been going around, drawing crowd. Fubara has the resources of his state. Let him go around too. My brother, whatever people who have power of creation can have power of taking out. And to the House of Assembly, they have the mandate. No matter the narrative, take my words. The House of Assembly removed me in Ekiti. Whatsoever hand is behind it, that time, it was Obasanjo's hand. It was a lot of elite's hand, but they accomplished it. I was removed. I became history. I went to exile. If not for God, I wouldn't have been.
Okay, the papers are reporting that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has intervened. Now, he did the last time before the state of emergency. He intervened again after to ensure peace. Now he's having to call them again, Wike and Fubara, playing the role of the headmaster. Do you think that will make any difference and Fubara will survive this time around?
Let me tell you again. I want to advise Governor Fubara again. Please, Governor Fubara, I'm begging you, go and make amends and be at peace.
He has frustrated more than once.
Just wait a second.
To the same Minister Wike. How many times will he frustrate?
Your wife can equally tell you, sir. After all, I've said sorry to you. Is that an apology? My wife can tell me, I've said sorry to you now. How many times will I say sorry to you? Sir, there is a remorse and there is what we call in Yoruba, I'm saying it just for me to have peace, not because I want to show remorse. Listen, my brother, those people leading on Governor Fubara, if Governor Fubara goes down today, they will run away. People that were saying I should fight back those days, they were not there when I was isolated and when I was alone. That's all I will say to you. The current situation, the president himself, that I know, hates ingratitude. The president that I know controls Lagos from the palms of his hands. The governor that I know, for instance, the speaker, was removed, impeached. Another setting, somebody else took over in Lagos State. The president, without saying a word, caused the system to restore that speaker because it's an affront to the president who is the leader here. You will tell me someone who is the leader of Lagos. Let him announce it. Let us hear him. Let Governor Sanwo-Olu come out and say, I'm the leader in Lagos. You see, there's certain things that are said to cause aesthetics. Don't let it get into your head. And let me close by saying this. The emergency rule was all winning for Governor Fubara. By now, Governor Fubara will have been history. Because the moment you are impeached, you are out of the way. You can't contest. If you read the context of President Tinubu, he took the Governor Fubara to the cleaners. Excuse me, sir. It is time for Governor Fubara to learn. Learn the way I learned my lesson after my first tenure.
Okay, Chief Ayoshi.
And you see, let me explain to you. If the president calls them, will the president remove the office of the lawmakers? Would he say the lawmakers cannot do their assignments? Save your soul. You can't treat. How would you be running a government without sending names of appropriate people for clearance with the House of Assembly? How would you be spending public funds, even if it's for photo trick? You're supposed to follow this process. These are masters of constitution. The constitution that gave the Rivers people power has given House of Assembly.
Yeah, but the same constitution, section 188 of the 11, says that the House of Assembly, if they don't like the governor, they can just define anything as gross misconduct.
Who said that?
Whether it is true or not.
Constitution is binding on you and binding on me. I'm binding on Rivers people. That is the more reason why Governor Fubara, I'm saying it again, climbed down from his high horse. Look for his brother, his leader, the man who was thoughtful enough to say, among all you brides, I will marry you. Come to the office of the governor.
Okay, Chief Ayoshi. Now, you said you are supporting Governor Yebamji of Ekiti State. He belongs to the APC.
Correct.
You say you are also supporting President Tinubu.
Yes.
Okay, I'm not aware that you've declared for the APC.
No, I'm not.
No, have you declared for ADC?
I would never be.
Okay, so which party do you belong to? Are you not guilty of anti-party conduct?
In the first instance, where is the PDP?
No, they expelled you. They have expelled you from the party.
Listen, you don't joke with. You can't expel Ayofayoshi, Wiki, and all that. We equally expel them. The actions and inactions clearly states to you that the party is in trouble. You see, in the PDP,
that is their faction. Or their group that is recognized.
By who, sir?
They said your group, the Wiki group, that you people are on your own.
INEC, as of today, has told the two sides. They did not take the candidate from Ekiti. They wouldn't have taken the candidate from Osun. That is to tell you that INEC does not recognize the PDP anyway. In Ekiti now, no candidate when they published the list. In Osun, the governor smell rat ran to accord, which is okay for him. And let me equally tell you very quickly. Majority of the people that are calling me, calling Wiki, calling them, they did this, they went to support Ashwa, are they not all inside the APC now? Let's call it spade a spade. Majority, even the vice presidential candidate, even Atiku himself, all of them has abandoned the PDP. You understand? You can't build us on a faulty ground. You can't build house on the swamp. The party is already a swamp. Those people that are making noise and running around, how many, let them call governors meeting. There's things that looks like shame. I don't want to mention names, but they know that, and I want to tell you again to this public, I want to say it to you, that Governor Makinde, Governor Bala will go to ADC.
No, the same Governor Makinde, I was a moderator of, the media chat with him. He said categorically that on the basis of his own personal principles, he will not go to the PDP. And I think it was after media chat that he will not go to the APC. It was after.
Go to APC.
Where will he go?
He will go to ADC. Because this PDP...
No, but he said categorically that he will remain in PDP.
Excuse me.
Because some people, on the basis of principle, should stand firm.
That's a gentleman's talk. I agree with you. But I'll just ask you a question. Where is PDP now? The only body that is recognized...
Biru Turaki SAN and the new NWC.
No, there's no...
They all say they are going to rebuild that party.
Excuse me.
In spite of
I just said it.
The objections of those who left.
No.
Or who are
we are politicians. We must be talking tough. We must be talking in manners that will show that we have substance. That is what Kabiru is saying. Kabiru is my friend, he's a gentleman, but I don't have issues with him. You see, when a cloth is turned two ways, it's no use to the two sides. Let me tell you the truth. Why did INEC not? Maybe Kabiru SAN led the one you said recognized in quote. When they submitted the name to INEC, why did INEC not publish the name? The PDP is not.
INEC says there are matters in court that would need to be resolved.
Excuse me. If this matter in court, for instance, is not resolved and there's an election, what will happen, sir? People who did not participate in election will go to court to go and take a mandate they did not participate in. Let's call it spade a spade. PDP is a cloth, new or old, turned into two halves, of no use to the two factions. We say God is coming. God will catch you. God is coming. The coming of God might not be 10 years old. The coming of recognition of a faction in PDP might not be another 1 year. God is coming. It's better for you to guide your life. Why did the governor should not wait for God is coming in PDP to?
Isn't something untidy about you saying you are still in PDP and then you are supporting the APC? Just the same thing that Minister Wike is doing. There's something untidy about it.
The coming in of Buhari became a very popular candidate that elders of this country took position on. Whatever he did in government is another story. It was a decision. Everybody accepted it. At his coming, both PDP, anybody, they fell in and supported him. Secondly, I have not shied away from supporting the president, even when I was in office. I visited him, and when I go there, it's public. I don't go by corner. When he had a knee surgery, I was there. You understand? So what I'm trying to tell you, don't forget, I'm a party man. But above it all, I am a statesman. Decisions are made. In the advanced democracy in America, majority of the people don't agree with Trump's policies. The leaders come out and say, no, we disagree with your policy. They vote in parliament against the president. That is for you to know that they are statesmen beyond party politics. America first, Nigeria first, Ekiti first. I'm first from Ekiti before I could join politics.
Okay, what is your problem then with Seyi Makinde, governor for your state? I mean, you just said that I should write it down. He's going to go to the ADC. He has not said anything.
I never said, most things that I say in this country, they don't even happen at the point I'm saying them. By the grace of God, to the glory of God, God has given me the grace. Whatever thing God opened my mouth and feel it, and I say they happen like that.
But you said Makinde, Governor Makinde, collected $50 billion or so. $50 billion.
50 billion naira.
Naira, okay. But he said they gave him 30 million. And then the federal government gave him 30 million.
30 billion.
And
30 billion.
Is it 30 billion? Okay, 30 billion. And held on to the remaining 20 billion. And that the money was warehoused, waiting for the 20 billion to be released. And he has provided evidence that you lied against him.
Let us please get things to it. I never lied against Governor Makinde. In fact, they denied the first day. If I knew this question would come, I'll bring you the comments of the Oyo State government to say that they did not collect money from the federal government. They did not collect money from the federal government. It was when I provided an evidence, you understand, was when they now came out and said, it's not 50, it is 30. And let me go a little further, sir. Have you seen somebody collecting money for 1.5 years and warehousing the money? It was a cheap blackmail on their part to tell people that Asiwaju did not give me the 20 billion. In the first place, that is within his prerogative, it's not his allocation. It is within the prerogative of the president. You see, this matter came up because Governor Makinde came to public TV and said, I demanded for a ministerial slot. I brought name to Asiwaju, the president, and he did not give me. He gave it to the current minister of power. And he's not going to be part of his second term. May I say to you, at that point, I came out. I said, your story is half said. You ought to equally say that, yes, the president did not give me the slot, but he helped my state with 50 billion, with 30 billion, depending on the one you are laying claim to. Sir, you can't tell lies about a president who has... Trump tells you that I will only service the state I want to service. He has said it over time. If you give me a problem, I will not come to your state. The president, Ahmed Bola Tinubu, was magnanimous to support you out of intervention fund. You must be gracious and grateful for that as well. Then let me tell you, how can you warehouse money, 30 billion? The interest rate itself will have gone to about 4 billion. Say all the truths. They said they are going to publish the account where they warehoused it and then publish it. So I'm not going to come here and say things that are not. I'm an experienced former governor that has gone through the times. Governor Makinde was a guy that I love so much. I was the one that went to Ogbomoso.
You don't love him anymore?
No.
You are speaking in the past.
Yes, I'm talking.
You said was.
Where, sir? It was a guy.
You don't love him anymore?
No, I don't. That's the truth. I don't. You don't disrespect leaders. It doesn't matter who you are. We have had our times and we have left office. You will leave office in another 1 year. It's no big deal. I was the one who brought you the red pen in Ogbomoso. I was the one who brought you the flag. And let me go a little further. It was Ladoja that was interested in the ticket. But we worked, because I was equally the only sitting Southwest governor like he is now at the time. I had a lot of influence. If I'd wanted to work against him, I would have, but I worked for him. Majority of the people that work for him, he has discarded them. Well, that's his own. I'm not from Oyo State. But because of your question, let me equally say this to you. I saw a flyer who was saying that Governor Makinde wants to be president of Nigeria. And he came to my house here. And I said, Your Excellency, I saw a flyer going around. Are you contesting or what's going on? You know what he said to me? He said, oh, I should not mind those boys. They only want money. They are only doing that, not to his knowledge, and that he will not be used as a Yoruba man to contest against the president, Asiwaju. I say this in the honor and in the fear of God. That was what he told me. So when Shehu Okinbaloye brought talks about the Southern and mentioning President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, mentioning Obi and mentioning Makinde, I said, don't run Makinde on the ground. Don't bring him to this. He has told me he's not contesting. I did that to honor him, to say that Makinde is the man of his words. For him to now come on public television and saying all that, it's very, very, it's not right.
Okay, Chief Fayose, let me ask you, the fear across Nigeria is this fear of a one-party state, that the APC has now become so dominant. And it looks like the election has been won and lost already. Although some people say, look, it's the people that will decide. And it doesn't matter how many governors have joined President Tinubu. But here you are not even in the APC, you are supporting the president, adding to the number of persons who are saying it must be Tinubu or no other person.
Now, let me say certain fundamental things. But before I say that, I've said that I've always supported the president, even when I was a sitting governor. And I was part of the G5 that supported him. And I recall very well, I was one of the people, particularly myself, who told Governor Wike, staying with this Atiku, who is not a promise keeper. They will come back for you if they won, if they had won the election. So it's better for us to go to Asiwaju. I, by the grace of God, went to wait for them in Port Harcourt when Aketi, late Aketi, governor of Ondo then, Fayemi, governor of Lagos, and about 2 other people came to Rivers to consummate a relationship with Governor Wike before they started going to London and all that to resolve the matter. Now, the first question is this. There is no time we will admit that it was our fault that caused the exodus. We must be very honest. When you are weak, tendencies are there for you to fall to the right of the stronger side. The challenges in the PDP, it's not the fault of Asiwaju, the president. No. The failure in my home, God forbid, is not the fault of my neighbor. The issues are very clear. The PDP caused themselves an insurrection. This is a house that divided against itself. And the nature of man is survival of the fittest. Everybody will now begin to scramble, struggle for survival, trying to take refuge somewhere else. How many times, out of about 8 governors that defected, how many times have you seen a trace of oppression, suppression? Like we are saying, the money given to Governor Makinde, Governor Makinde is a PDP state. It's not a APC state. So in what way were they suppressed? No, they had problems from home. They had issues with their own party. And as governors, they want to survive at all costs. They took that part. It is not a problem. But let me help you to round it up. There are 2 dominant parties at a given time. Are we saying ADC is not dominant? Recently, Obi moved there. And I've said it, Obi is the only life in ADC.
There are other people there. Atiku is there.
Excuse me.
Amaechi is there.
I never said they are not human beings there. I'm saying they are largely spent forces. Obi is, let Obi don't go to ADC. Let Obi go to another party. Let's say Obi is in Accord. Accord will become, excuse me, I'm saying it to be, Obi is the only traction. Obi is the only meaning. Obi is the only factor. Obi is the only person in ADC that matters. And if Obi had not gone to ADC and has gone, when Obi went to Labour that would never known became won elections to House of Rep. I'm not saying Obi will win this election. I'm not saying Obi will not win this election. But I'm telling you, even if they don't feed Obi, if ADC fails to feed Obi, their case will be worse than they are coming together.
Okay, as we begin to wrap up, very quickly, 2 issues. In Ekiti State, where you support the APC and Governor Ivan.
When I supported the governor, I'm not a member of the APC.
Okay, so you support the governor. Now, ahead of the next election in Ekiti, some people are now saying they want a Muslim governor, that Christians are the ones who have been leading Ekiti State. Despite the fact that you identified and others who followed you identified with the Muslim community.
They are daydreamers.
The Muslims in Ekiti are daydreamers.
Those people that are saying it, they are daydreamers. Ekiti doesn't operate that way. It is not a state where you have Muslim dichotomy, Christian. No. It is a state when they want you, they want you. They don't want you, they don't want you. You can't force a Muslim to come if the Muslim doesn't come to the stage. You can't be dancing for somebody who's not on the stage. Above all, that governor, Biodun Abayomi Oyèbánjí, has performed. I am the record holder. I won in all the 16 local government. I defeated Governor Fayemi in all the 16 local government in 2014. I won in 158 out of 177 wards. This time, Oyèbánjí will beat that record. He will win in 177 out of 177 wards and in all the 16 local government. Because all the leaders has come together, even Governor Oni.
Okay, finally, Chief Fayose, let's go back to where we started from, Rivers. I said we hear, the media, the papers have reported that Governor Fubara has gone to France to meet the president, and that Minister Wike is also in France to have a meeting with the president. What do you think we should expect next in Rivers State?
I'm not aware Governor Wike has gone to Paris. No, that's not true. I still spoke with him last night. Governor Wike, Minister Wike is in Rivers, is in Port Harcourt. But if Governor Fubara has gone to meet the president, then it shows he needs help. You know, when you don't praise God, when you refuse to humble yourself, look for peace, you just be running a scatter. That was what I was saying to you. What he's looking for is inside his pocket. But let me say this to Nigerians. They assure you that I know, the president of Nigeria that will know, will not get rid of a Wike for a Fubara. You can
very sure about
100%. A gift. You
don't think Wike can become relevant?
Excuse me.
Eventually?
At this stage of his life, even when he doesn't become, when he is no more minister of FCT, Wike is a man that has done well for himself in political space. You will always need Wike. Let me tell you the truth. Today, you can't take, Wike came from Rivers to give support to President Tinubu. Wike is in Abuja performing. We never had it so good in Abuja. Even a blind man can't deny that. So, and when Wike speaks, he says the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President. A lot of people in Abuja, not government in power, don't often win in Abuja. The local government elections in Rivers, APC won them, courtesy of Wike. The local government election coming in Abuja, APC will still win it. What else would the government Tinubu want from Wike?
Okay, on that note, we'd like to thank you very much, Chief Ayo Fayose, for joining us and granting us this opportunity to have a conversation with you at Arise News. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Okay, the conversation with the former governor of Ekiti State, Ayo Fayose there. Well, what do you think, guys? Let me start with you.
Brilliant interview. Brilliant.
Honestly,
and very
so
good
enjoyable.
One. Very enjoyable.
A lot
and
of
also,
tongue and cheek.
kudos to, Oshokumole Fayose. I mean, it's an interviewer's delight anytime. So it's a very brilliant interview. But some things I'll just try to call him out on. You see, the problem I always have with our politicians is their hypocrisy. Now you're trying to endorse godfatherism and you're saying that, Fubara should kowtow to Wike, sort of. You were even talking about the Lagos case of, I think, Obasa, and how President Tinubu stood still, and Obasa came back. But the question we should ask is the same case. Wike going ahead to push for that impeachment through the National Assembly or the citizen that is loyal to him was an affront to President Tinubu. Because you knew that once Fubara had gone to the APC, then definitely President Tinubu was obviously shielding him. And you went ahead and you make that move. So if you are trying to extrapolate also with Lagos, you're not balancing out the argument. And for him saying all the things he's saying about Wike, somebody is your source, somebody is your God, didn't people help Wike? Without Mrs. Jonathan, is Wike going to be anybody today? He's talking about how did Wike treat those that helped him? How did he treat the Jonathans? Even him that is talking that he has a great footing, all of a sudden he doesn't love Sheyi Makinde again because the initial fight was because, there was a time we were fighting about who's going to be the leader of the Southwest in the PDP. And Sheyi Makinde is a sitting governor. Even that, when you now extrapolate, even Oshokumana is saying he has so much powers in Ekiti State that they still mention his name. Why couldn't he beat Babafemi Ojodu that got 67,000 votes? And he got, I think, close to 30,000 votes in the Senate elections. The 2 times he got in, it was because of 2003 was the help of Obasanjo. The 2014, you remember that episode because, ACN and APC had started their onslaught then. And President Goodluck Jonathan too also wanted to show that the PDP was still an authority. And that's why when he vied for the election, there was a lot of state might and state support. I mean, you remember the famous case of a lifting of 1.2 billion to support him and all of that. So if not for Jonathan, will he have gotten re-elected in 2014? So all of this, these are the hypocrisy of the politician. They say it so easily. People too helped Wike. People helped him in the past. His so-called powers he claimed he has in Ekiti is because he got a lot of federal might leading up those 2 elections that he won. You remember the Obasanjo route of the Southwest in 2003 and the 2014 episode. But when he went to the Labour Party to test his power in 2011, he lost Babafemi Ojodu. So I just wanted to call out those hypocrisies of our political class sometimes.
Yes, several things. I think one of the major takeaways for me is the fact that unfortunately, PDP seems to be deeply entrenched in this conundrum where nobody really wants to run with the PDP, but nobody wants to let go of it. Because he was very clear, he said, well, I can't be expelled from the PDP. I'm still a member, but let alone, of course, he's still reinstating and reinforcing his support for those who are not members of the party in various places. And for me, it reinforced what we were discussing this morning pertaining to comments from Senator Tambuwal, just about the Machiavellian way that politics is played. Is it really about the people or what the people's will? Or have these elites and this political class found a way to corner the outcome of all events? That bold endorsement for godfatherism and even reinforcing the fact that godfatherism, this is what we know and this is how it works, and the order of godfatherism should be respected. Yahaya Bello, he doesn't have a problem in Kogi State. You gave a number of examples, Say, in essence, so he's saying that we in Nigeria, we don't have a process of electing leaders. It's a selection, and when you've been selected, then you are indebted not to the electorate, but to your godfather and his whims and wishes is the takeaway from that. So I think it's a deep concern, because how do we move away from this type of discourse where, in essence, a nation of over 200 million is being determined by just a handful of people who have, the monopoly on power and the monopoly on the politics of the day. But great to get into the mindset of the former governor Ayo Fayose, and very clear.
Somebody sent something. They said, one quote from Fayose from a lovely interview, Dr. Ba, said, "You don't disrespect leaders no matter who you are." Is this not the same Fayose that disrespected Chief Olusegun Obasanjo recently?
But it's Machiavellian. The ends justifies the means.
We'll take a short break now, and when we return, we shall be talking to Professor Alera Roberts, a public health specialist. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
In the beating heart of Owerri, business never sleeps. From sunrise to sundown, the wheels keep turning. And behind the scenes, vision meets action. Governor Hope Uzodinma's leadership has turned manifestos into reality, transformations that feels like a miracle. But progress needs peace, and in Imo, it's not left to chance. From land to sky to river deep, guardians are watching, protecting dreams and opportunity. At Orashi's quiet shore, hydropower is rising, set to energize a growing economy. The change is visible. New roads emerge, industry hums, communities come alive. At the center, a digital revolution. 500,000 young minds trained each year to build the future. As Orashi rises, so does Imo and the hopes of a hard-working people. A new Imo is on the rise.
Thinking of banking in Africa? Think Zenith. In today's fast-moving, fast-changing world, you need a financial partner that understands your unique expectations. A bank digitally connected across Africa and global financial centers with the enabling platform to facilitate seamlessly, whenever, wherever, however. A bank with smart financial solutions from a systemized blend of technology and human touch. For easy, fast, and secure banking that creates real value. Turning dreams into reality is now in your hands. People, technology, service. Zenith Bank, in your best interest.
I am the chef of life.
Mr. Chef, it's a two-finger crush. Pass with the chicken and
With Mr. Chef, a simple crush turns meals into culture and moments into memories.
This is the true taste of home.
And culture.
Chef of life.
Africa's biggest gaming conference, Age 2026, is coming. The ultimate convergence of innovators, operators, regulators, investors, and creators redefining gaming across the continent. Experience immersive exhibitions, thrilling competitions, and powerful insights on sports betting, lotteries, casinos, slots, and fintech, all in one place. This is where ideas ignite opportunities, and Africa steps boldly onto the global stage under the theme Africa's Gaming Market, Frontier to Prominence. Join us March 24th to 27th, 2026 at the AKO Convention Center, Lagos, Nigeria, to experience 4 unforgettable days of innovation, inspiration, and impact. Register now on www.asiafreak.org/register. Whether you're a regulator, operator, game developer, fintech, or an investor, this is where Africa's gaming revolution unfolds. Don't just watch the future, be part of it.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Now, the death of the 21-month-old son of renowned Nigerian writer Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie has once again raised questions about healthcare in Nigeria. While we mourn with Chimamanda and her family on the sudden and tragic death of her toddler Nkanu, following a medical procedure carried out at Eurocare Hospital in Lagos, we take a deep dive into the state of healthcare in Nigeria. Now, reacting to the death of the child, Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has ordered a full investigation into allegations of medical negligence. Whilst we await the autopsy from medical examiners and the coroner's report as required under the law, we speak with a public health specialist, Professor Alero Roberts, on the state of healthcare in Nigeria to avoid more such deaths. Now, beyond the grief of a bereaved family, the incident has reopened an uncomfortable but necessary conversation about the quality of care, accountability, and professionalism in Nigeria's healthcare system, both private and public. Doctors in Nigeria are on strike over the state of pay and infrastructure in Nigeria as we lose scores to the Japa syndrome. So, what next? Dr. Alero Roberts, welcome to the program. Good morning. Unfortunately, under such sad circumstances.
Can we say tragic?
Yeah, absolutely.
Really, really tragic. And yes, it is. It's a good morning because we are asked to bless God in all situations. But you can imagine that for me as a grandmother of a, and I've got a 16-month-old grandchild, the pain is double. I feel the pain of the mother of a mother. And it's absolutely awful to imagine. But you're right. We must take these really painful situations and look at the bigger picture and do the risk management. What could have, should have been done? What should not have been done? What could have gone better?
Okay, Professor Roberts, what should we expect? The mother, Chimamanda Adichie, has already served legal notice. The Lagos State government has commenced an investigation. The hospital involved, Uracare, they said they maintain professional standards. But the major complaint by the mother of the deceased is medical negligence. An overdose of propofol by the anesthesiologist, and also lack of adequate care, failure to monitor the child, and all of that. This happens too often in Nigeria. And we hear, oh, the coroner will look into it, investigation will be done, and all of that. At the end of the day, many of those cases we don't hear again after the media noise.
But this is just what we're talking about.
So where is the Nigerian Medical and Dental Council that is supposed to maintain standards, and why is it that many of the cases before now are never resolved?
There are too many. Bros, you are very, very correct. You're very correct. I sit in a place in Louth where I overlook the children's emergency room. And every now and again, more now than again, I hear that gut-wrenching, heartbreaking scream of a mother who has just lost a child. She's not world famous. She's not known in social media circles. She's not an influencer. She's a mother. It happens too often. And we have mentioned too many things that have gone wrong. Even the coroner's cases that you say start off an investigation. The whole of our hospital has one coroner. In Lagos State, apart from the fact that the allied health professionals are on strike, how many coroners do we have to handle how many deaths? Because any death that occurs within 24 hours of getting to a health facility is a coroner's case by law, even if it's a 99-year-old man. So you've got the first problem: no personnel, no systemic structure, no system. And the systems engineers understand this better than we do. Then now let's look at it. I'm a public health physician. I am not going to cross lane. I have no idea what is a proper dose or improper dose of propofol. Can I even remember what propofol is? But that is an aside. So I will not cross lane and comment on that. Let the investigators and independent, objective investigation take place. However, let's look at the very first thing. Nobody wakes up in the morning to take a 21-month-old child to hospital. That was not the agenda of the day. To fun fair, to grandma's house, to ice cream parlor, perhaps. To hospital, no. So something was gravely wrong with the child ab initio that warranted a trip to one hospital who escalated to the best hospital, one of the best hospitals that West Africa has, which was why it was chosen. What was that thing that went wrong in the community that led to the decision to take that child to hospital? This is where we come to what we call in public health the 3 delays. The delay in the home. Did they recognize danger signs on time? The delay in the transportation. Where is the health facility? In this case, the ultimate health facility is 6,000 kilometers away from the child. Hence, the child was being medevaced. Then the delay in the health system. Those 3 delays have all contributed. The second thing, global health research, you can check it out. That 12 to 24 months of age is critical in the speed with which a common cold can escalate to a viral encephalitis and become life-threatening. As I'm talking, I have goose flesh and I'm holding back tears because the pain is unimaginable. It's unimaginable.
I'd like for us to delve into some of the regulatory frameworks, because just to chime into what Dr. Abati said, we hear several cases. In this instance, some of the allegations even lean in towards there's some citations that this particular practitioner may have been involved in similar allegations or similar circumstances in the past. Yet, as a matter of public record, there's no record. Nigeria does not record any doctor who has been, or medical practitioner who has been sanctioned. You only see those who have not renewed their licenses. So we don't even know those that get struck off from the register, as is done, for example, in the UK, where they will say these people have been, their licenses have been revoked. I know I'm just comparing with,
You can't compare because the UK has so many instances of practitioners who should have been struck off years ago, but went on to kill 17 people. But that's a different story.
So that's what I want to dive into.
The regulatory frameworks are there.
Okay, are there lapses if there's an allegation, as is made severally in the public space, that some specific individuals are alleged to have been involved in similar cases of negligence, but they're still practicing and they do so openly? And you're saying it happens in other places in the world as well. How does this get addressed? How do we stop somebody who seems to be systemically negligent?
I think we're making assumptions here. Okay. I think we're definitely making assumptions here. Nothing has been proven to be fact. Now, true, I could be defending my professional colleague, but in this case, I am not. But the point still remains, has it been proven in fact? There are some
allegations.
Specialties that are fraught with danger. Anesthesia is one of them. You are taking a patient to the edge of death and bringing them back every single time. Let's look at a worst case scenario. Let us even assume, oh God, should I go down this road? Let us even assume there could be negligence or malpractice. Question number one I want to ask, how many of them, how many anesthetists were on this case? Is he the only one? How long has he been? Because we're comparing him and the surgeon to the pilot of an aircraft. These are very risky professions. And that's the truth of the matter. How much systemic support does he have or she have? Because we don't even know whether the anesthetist is male or female, to be honest. And these are the questions that should be looked at in an investigation. Is there any anesthetist in the world or in Nigeria who has not lost a patient? There isn't. Except the one who has not been, who is not practicing. There isn't. Were those mistakes? Were they malpractice? Were they negligence? Or were they just unfortunate? That is going to be the outcome in this particular instance. That is what the investigation is going to set out to prove.
I'm sorry to interject. So are you saying that, in essence, negligence is a very difficult thing to prove?
No, it's not a difficult thing to prove.
Okay.
That's why we look for international or objective, inquiries to come in. No, it is not difficult. And he or she is going to be tried by a panel of inquiry of his or her peers, to be honest. And the other anesthetists will be called in to weigh in. They'll look at everything and decide that, okay, there's nothing that could have been done, or, bro, you messed up here. Do you understand? But they will look at everything, and it's going to be anesthetists investigating this anesthetist.
So thank you so much. I mean, I feel your pain. For me...
Can you?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. I played with this child.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
So it's a double job for me.
God.
I've held this child in my hand. I've played with this child, so it's a double jeopardy for me. So anytime we talk about it, it's not an easy one for me.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
But I'd like to ask, as regards the process of inquiry, because we've had coroner's inquests in the past, the case of Chef Peju Ogoma, whose husband was a friend of mine, also comes to mind.
You are a lightning rod for tragedy, aren't you, sir?
So, and we saw how that process went. Never felt like he got justice. I think Isaac Bakuba spoke about it. What should we expect from this process? Number one, what should be the questions we should ask from this process?
There are too many questions to ask. Because like I said, from a public health point perspective, we're looking at what went wrong ab initio. The steps between perfect health and death, we need to examine every single step along the route. A 21-month-old little boy who is playful, mischievous, does not jump from alive and well and perfectly healthy to dead in one hop, skip, and jump. What went wrong along the way? At what point could this thing have been mitigated? Or is it an inevitable outcome? Because if you develop an viral encephalitis was the child fully immunized? Who knows? Immunized against that specific virus? Who knows? But if you develop a viral encephalitis at that age, it doesn't matter where you are. It can be an inevitable, tragic outcome. That is an uncomfortable fact we have to deal with. However, all this is mere speculation until the facts are revealed. What can we expect will depend on... I hate to say it. I really do hate to say it. But this is the lightning rod that could strengthen the system going forward. Because for us in the health space, it's not new. It's not new. The systemic failures that we are faced with are too many and too grievous. And this is the outcome. The fact that it has happened to someone so beloved around the world, and particularly in Nigeria, is what makes it even more painful. But is this the lightning rod that will spark change? Is this the one that cannot be swept under the carpet? Is this the one that we are going to keep calling and say, hey, how far now? Has the inquiry been done? What have you found? What is the outcome? Is this the one that can change the system? Because if this can happen in a hospital like Uracare, is it the hospital that is to blame? Why Uracare? Why didn't they go to any of the teaching hospitals or general hospitals? Is that not an indictment on our teaching and general hospitals that they do not have the requisite expertise and infrastructure that a Uracare has? These are questions we need to ask. Lagos State, the champion of healthcare in Nigeria, how come one of your facilities was not the go-to? That's another question.
Okay, Professor Roberts, when lawyers make mistakes, they have the option of going up the hierarchy. If you make a mistake in the High Court, you go to the Court of Appeal. So there's an opportunity for remedy. The popular view is that when doctors make mistakes, they bury their mistakes. So at the end of the day, the affected family is helpless. Now, will you recommend that Nigerians need to receive more education about medical ethics?
Absolutely.
Because medical ethics is the main thing that the aggrieved mother is complaining about. Doctors should not be allowed to bury their mistakes.
In truth, doctors doctors are not allowed to bury their mistakes. But I'll tell you one thing, and you are very correct, Bros. I'll tell you one thing. Medical education of the public, health education of the public is critical. MDCN, the Medical and Dental Council of Nigeria, can only take up a case that the family, the patient, brings to them. I cannot report my colleague to MDCN as a professional colleague. I cannot report my colleague. If something happens and the patient dies and the family do not report to MDCN, hands are tied. Sometimes we are begging patients, families. They say, that fatalistic attitude. Well, the wicked have done their worst. You know that there's a case that has come to the hospital. I recall a case, this was a family that had eaten some meal and the little one had died and and only the mother was not affected. And we begged the family, can we carry out autopsy? No, they want their dead body, they want to go and bury. We begged, we pleaded. But you see, even in our coroner's law, there's a loophole that, we are of a certain faith, we need to bury within 24 hours. So public education, public health education is critical. Health education is critical. Health literacy is critical. Because in a child under 2, those danger signs switch in an hour. A child can go from having a common cold to a viral encephalitis that is life-threatening. If the parents, if the caregivers don't recognize those danger signs and have a wait-and-see attitude because the health facility is financially inaccessible, geographically inaccessible, socially or culturally inaccessible, that child is in danger. That asks for health literacy. Then we need the financial access. Now she is preparing, allegedly, to medevac the child to a health facility several thousand kilometers away. That health facility, this is all in the public space. This is what I'm reading in the public space. Allegedly, the health facility has asked for 2 key tests that tell me that, this child is gravely ill. You do not ask for a lumbar puncture if you're not expecting a grave problem. Nobody wants a lumbar puncture in a 2-year-old. Nobody. So there are so many questions. There are so many angles to it. And in all this pain that the mother and the grandmother, I have to identify with the grandmother, obviously. In all this pain that they're feeling, that they are brave enough to ask these questions can save a lot more lives. That's the honest truth.
So here's my question, is that yes, it's important for us to push for this, for public education and public enlightenment about what the public's rights are in instances where they feel that possibly there are questions that need to be answered. And I understand that due to cultural, religious, intricacies, many people choose not to. But I'm curious, in the instances from your experience where people have chosen to pursue the matter, how many of those instances have actually resulted in some conclusive action being taken?
I can't give you exact figures offhand, but rather more than you would think. The truth of the matter is that it's not newsworthy. How do I put it?
How can something like that not be newsworthy?
It's not newsworthy. The physician is struck off the medical register. We see it sometimes. It's on page 27 of the newspaper in a small column there that so and so. And I mean, we saw one about 6 months ago, a year ago. My husband, where are you? You would remind me.
But does
and where we were like, Okpeo, at long last, because we've always known.
But you're in the community, so it may not be newsworthy, but the public, how can we say it's not newsworthy?
It's not newsworthy because at the end of the day, you will go to whom you will go to. You will go to where you go to who you trust. You are the same people as journalists who are fighting for the rights of mothers to go to traditional birth attendants to deliver.
The regulatory environment still allows people to slip through the cracks and operate with or without a license. So is it fair for us to say we'll go to where we go to when the regulatory environment is not actively policing to see who is?
We can only tell you, I can speak for Lagos State and HEFAMA, Health, I can't remember what it stands for, EHEFA.
The agency, yes.
The agency, you know them. You are supposed to have a notice on the outside of your facility accredited by HEFAMA. Okay. Some do, some don't. I cannot force you to go here or there. The choice is yours. I cannot legislate your human behavior.
Okay. Who regulates HEFAMA?
Oh, good question. I'm not sure. It's an agency set up by government.
So who regulates and ensures that HEFAMA does what HEFAMA needs to do?
Oh, that's a very good question. That is a very good question, and this is a question that we do need to answer, because at the end of the day, the agents that go out supposedly to accredit, because there are some places I see the HEFAMA sign, and I'm like, really? Really? This has met the standard? Maybe the agent just went there, collected something under the table. Who knows? Who regulates?
Who regulates a farmer in such a way that a farmer can show us procedures and things done in every hospital, case study analysis and things like that?
If people don't ask, nobody is going to give you that information.
Okay.
Nobody is going to give you. Nobody can give you that information. You're asking me now, and I'm thinking, I know the MD, but I'm going to leave here and be distracted by 10 other things that I have to do. Who's going to follow up on that?
I mean, I don't know how they do their legal things, but probably maybe the lawsuit Chimamanda is filing, probably a farmer too should be put in the lawsuit, because we need to also hear from the regulators.
The hospitals concerned, and there are two of them, nobody's mentioning the second one, so I won't. The hospitals concerned would definitely meet HEFAMA standards. There's no doubt. You can investigate them from the rooftop to the cellar. They will definitely meet in every which way. So that is not in question.
What makes up
because if you bring an international auditor to look at it, and I think one of them has ISO standard. Well, yeah, I think Eureka has ISO standard. So that's an international standard. They'll meet it. Okay. Do you understand? But like you said, what about all the other deaths? All the other mothers who have lost their children to similar incidents, preventable incidences in the hospital? Who regulates? Who's watching? And I've asked this question. I've asked it on every TV station I've gone on to since 2020. Let us do these audits. Let's do this mystery shoppers audit. Yeah. But you will now tell me you don't have enough hands. They've told me that in other TV stations.
There seems to be an impression out there that medical standards are falling in Nigeria, specifically because many of our health professionals, either doctors or other categories, have left the country to become special providers for other people elsewhere. Do you think this is part of the problem? And
this
also,
is definitely part of the problem.
That people are not well paid. Resident doctors are going back and forth.
I've told you here on this station, haven't I not? I told you the day I had to sign for a registrar who had just become a consultant. And instead of taking up a position in the hospital, said, my husband says we are going to Canada. Why? Because the money he had to pay for the school fees for 2 of his 3 children to attend the school he went to was more than the flight ticket for 5 of them to go abroad. And he says, my wife, it's time, let's go. Now, when doctors, nurses, pharmacists, physiotherapists, highly trained healthcare professionals cannot afford education for their children to attain the levels they have reached, and the government is still doing like this and like that and like this and like that, you see, healthcare professionals are not trained to fight for their rights. They pick up their suitcase and go. They've got to provide for their children.
That's right.
They've got to provide for their families. They are not ready to, we are not fighters. Except if you've got somebody like me, of course, who's just a renegade.
We journalists are fighters.
Thank you very much.
We are not carrying any bag. We stay and fight.
We are here. Yeah, take it
we will fight
bags
every morning.
Because yesterday, it's so funny you should call me today, because yesterday we were at work until well past closing hours, because we're pulling professionals from here to do this and from here to do this. And when you're pulling from section A, section B is left uncovered. When you're pulling from section B, section A is left uncovered. Because the same professionals are covering the jobs of what we should have double the number doing.
In private healthcare, where people are paying premium prices?
Darling, it is the same. How many anesthetists did we graduate last year?
But don't they?
How many? National Postgraduate Medical College has put out a call. Come and take your form, write your primary exams. Let's start training you as anesthetists. They've got 230-something spaces. 14 people showed up for interview. 14. 2 may eventually take up the position. And in a year's time, we'll suddenly realize that the maths is not mathematicking. They have to go.
Well, scary. Well, thank you very much, Professor Alero Roberts, for joining us on the morning show. We take a short break now. And when we return, Anieze Osakwe will be here with details on what's trending. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Do your style, show your smile. Do your future, show your tutor. Do your stream, share your dream. Do your passion, share your fashion. Do your game, show your game. Do your friendship, share your time. Do your laughter, make it true. With Glow YouTube.
Do you 250 Naira for 5 hours, 600 Naira for 14 hours. Dial *312#.
With Glow YouTube bundles. Do you?
Glow Unlimited. In this life, it's what you do behind that shows in front.
Give us the fire. Tell us more. It's Cosmo or nothing. That's really or not. This is Cosmo.
That's why I roll with Cosmo deodorant. No sweat, no stains, no odor.
Now you know.
Cosmo Roll-On Whitening Deodorant.
All day freshness, 7 days a week from GVS Cosmetics.
Emergencies happen when you least expect them to. It gets worse when you are cash trapped. No need to despair. First Advance has you covered. You can get that urgent cash right now on First Advance. With First Advance, salary earners can get up to 50% of their salary. No hassles. As long as you earn a monthly salary and your salary account has been active for at least 2 months. It doesn't matter if you run a salary account with First Bank or any other bank. Just dial *894*11# or simply dial *894# on your mobile phone. What's more, when you open a First Bank salary account, you can enjoy 0 charges and free debit card issuance. Download the First mobile app on Play Store or App Store today. Log in to experience First Bank digital banking. Select loans, select First Advance, and follow the prompts to receive your loan. Don't let that urgent need get the best of you. Get First Advance now. It's as simple as dialing *894*11#. First Advance. Fast, convenient, secure. You first. First Bank.
Every winter, the world's most influential people come to Davos to negotiate the future face to face. Money, energy, war, AI, trade, innovation, and all else. Africa will be there as well as Nigeria. The decisions made here will shape what happens to everyone else. As always, Arise has a front row seat, not to admire power, but to interrogate and shape the future. Join me, Rhoda Sodiri, Rolake Akinkube Filani, and Anizio Sakwe. Trust us to be your guide to the 2026 World Economic Forum. Watching closer, listening harder, and translating the moment into what it means for your life. Because the decisions made here don't stay here. They travel into markets, into borders, into prices, into policies. Stay with Arise News in Davos 2026. We're live, relentless, uncompromising. If it shifts the world, you'll see it first. On the world's standout global news channel, Arise News.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. Joining us now with stories trending around the world is Aneze Osakwe. Good morning, Annie.
Good morning, Dr. Abati. Busy morning. Very busy morning here. But good to be with all of you. Good morning, Mumbai.
Good morning, Annie of Davos.
Yes. We've seen the promos. It's happening.
Yes. So
very exciting. Thank you. Thank you so much. And good morning to everyone out there. Thank you all for starting your day with us. We begin what's trending in Edo State, where members of the public are calling for justice for students of Ambrose Ali University in Ekpoma. These calls come after a new video emerged on Monday that shows a group of students cramped in the back of a truck being taken to Ubiaja prison. Now, earlier on Monday, a Benin High Court ordered them to the jail, saying that they were part of a group of people behind protests that turned violent on Saturday against the state's consistent insecurity. Let's take a look.
Asiwaju, President of Nigeria. These are the crying faces that are sent to Ubiaja Correctional Center for what they know nothing about. Sir, we did not participate in that protest. The people that participated in that protest, they are in their houses. They are walking freely on the streets, and nothing happened to them. Sir, we are begging you. We are being punished for what we know nothing about. Sir, we are your children. We are your children, sir. Please, have mercy on us. Even if our child.
Now, authorities were said to have arrested these students from their dorms or their hostels while they were sleeping around 3 a.m. early on Sunday morning. A lot of the students who were arrested say they weren't even involved with the protests. But then, overnight, Edo State Police released their own statement emphasizing that no peaceful protester was arrested. In their post on X, and it's a tweet, we'll pull it up now, they say that 52 people suspected to have participated in violent acts of vandalism, assault, causing disorder, and undermining public safety were arrested. The arrested hoodlums also allegedly forcibly entered the palace of His Royal Highness Anthony Ehizioge Abumere, assaulting him and his wife while they destroyed his property. Contrary to claims circulating on social media, the police guarantees that no peaceful protester was arrested, but were rather charged to go home and maintain the peace. But meanwhile, Governor Monday Okpebolo, in his own post on his X profile on Monday, said the safety of Edo people is his #1 priority. He stated, in part, that he hears the voices of the people, that he's committed to taking decisive action, and that he will not relent until safety is fully restored. Either way, people in Edo State are angry. One layer of it is due to the insecurity and the abductions, and now we have a second layer, which is because of how Ambrose Ali University students are being treated. And Dr. Abati? I'll come to you on this. I mean, a lot going on in Edo State, and now there's so much public uproar because of this video regarding, the students.
Okay, very briefly. Yesterday, you brought a story, a video about a man, I think, who was kidnapped as he was entering his house. And there have been reports of, all kinds of kidnapping incidents in Edo State, on the basis of which people living in the Ekpoma area decided to protest. Now, every citizen is entitled to state protection. Every citizen is entitled to security. We have seen the exasperation on the part of average citizens of Nigeria, reacting against the fact that life has become very short. Nobody is safe. Even if you are sleeping in your home, you could be kidnapped. And it affects all categories of citizens. So the main issue here is insecurity in Edo State. Now, these students were arrested, in the early hours of the day on the grounds that, they were guilty of malicious damage and also armed robbery. And the students, their main defense is that, one, they are not even involved in the protest. That if any protest occurred, that protest was hijacked by hoodlums. And it was, these hoodlums who were responsible for whatever damage and acts of violence that may have attended the protest. The third point is that protest is a legitimate right under the Constitution. The people have the right to express themselves as long as they are not violent. But here in this case, these students were rounded up and taken to the court, and the court has now remanded them in prison. Ubiaja Correctional Center, you called it. We can only demand a number of things. One, that there must be fair hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Two, they are entitled to bail. That should also be granted. They should not become awaiting trial persons in whatever correctional center that they have been detained at. And of course, their right to defense must also be respected. Yeah. Understandably, the parents are unhappy. They are grieved. You could see the family members there, also lamenting. But what is important is that this kind of situation is preventable. And it is for government to play its part of making sure that this country is safe for everybody, as President Tinubu has promised again and again. Nobody should have to go and, protest on the street or be accused of malicious damage or acts of violence just because people do not feel safe. Mm-hmm. That is the major point. Yeah. We all need to be safe. Whether we are in Ogidi or we are in Abeokuta, or where is that your village? Odogbolu?
Standard.
Odogbolu. Everyone should feel safe.
Yes. You don't have a village?
Oh, yes, I do. Odupani.
Odupani, whether it's in Odupani.
Mm-hmm. What were the other methods they used to be able to quell the protest? Why will you resort to the use of live rounds being fired? You see, when we say Nigeria happened, what we are just saying is a system defect and a system error. But you see, the emergency lovers of Nigeria that do not understand system engineering will say we are demarketing Nigeria. And that's why the delusion is on them. Why is it that most protests we have in the first place results in this? Secondly, what are they protesting for? Insecurity. I have crisscrossed that area from Irua to Ubiaja to up the way to Ikeke, across that axis. And there's massive level of insecurity. I used to travel around that area before. Today, I can't try it again without police escort. Not just 1 or 2 or 3 vans of police. It's not today they've been protesting around that Ubiaja, Ekpoma, Irua area. In fact, women have come out to protest. When the governor got in there, they were protests. They've been protests, but till today, they've not been able to find a solution. The question you should ask is, why is it that the police does not respond on time to bring people that are kidnapped back home? You saw the story of the video of the man that was kidnapped in his home.
Yeah.
Why has the police not made effort? Why has the military not made efforts? We are so quick. You can see how funny Nigeria has become. We are quick to arrest protesters that protest against insecurity that the government can't solve. While the bandits, we negotiate with them. The states, like Katsina State, negotiate with the criminals. When 16 hunters were killed, the governor of Edo State was quick to go and do commiserations in Kano.
Right.
But people are being arrested, people are being kidnapped, and nothing comes out of it here. So it's a consistent effort, and you cannot ensure, and you cannot tell the people not to pray, because they will still protest more, and the students of Ekpoma will still protest more, except that level of insecurity stop. But it's not stopping anytime soon, because the authorities are not responding to the issue. There are many cases. Look at the case of the couple kidnapped. That case is still there. Only, I think the wife has been released. The husband had to sell his home. People are not selling their homes to raise ransom.
Yeah.
And this is happening.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about kidnappings and abductions in Edo State so many times. So now these calls are just growing louder and louder. From Edo State, let's now head to politics in Rivers State, where in a new video, 2 lawmakers beg their colleagues to reconsider moving forward on impeachment proceedings against the state governor, Siminalayi Fubara. Now, this video, released on Monday, features the House Minority Leader, Sylvanus Nwankwo, alongside Peter Abe of Degema State constituency, holding a press conference in Port Harcourt, saying that while they think Governor Fubara did infringe on the Constitution, impeachment isn't necessarily the way forward. Let's watch.
We have called this press conference to appeal to our fellow colleagues to tamper justice with mercy and to see how we can resolve this matter apart from the impeachment proceedings. We are begging, calling our colleagues to reconsider our step and see how this matter can be resolved amicably, even though the governor and the deputy governor has infringed on the constitution, but we are appealing on them to reconsider our stand.
We, as people, as members of the 10th Assembly, we want to plead with our colleagues to please reconsider. This, we have received calls from leaders, from people in River State, outside River State, and we see that you don't raise the axe and swing it as you raise it. So we plead with our colleagues to reconsider.
Now, I'll just take a quick reaction before coming to you, Vimbai. ISIP says, this is what happens, and this is a tweet, when public pressure meets political reality, when the people speak loudly enough, even the most calculated plots start to crack. River State is watching, Nigeria is watching, and history will remember who stood with democracy and who tried to trade the people's mandate for personal interest. Power belongs to the people, not backroom deals. Now, all of this comes as we're also getting new reports that as of now, Governor Fubara has yet to receive an official impeachment letter. Vimbai, give us a reality check on the significance of the fact that we're getting these two lawmakers come to speak out. Is this U-turn something to be expected? Should we be surprised? What's going on?
Well, when the news broke that the impeachment proceedings had begun and this process had been launched in the River State House of Assembly, one of the things I had said is, well, I just looked at the statistics over the years. We've had over 170 governors since 1999. In those 176 have been involved in impeachment proceedings, but only 2 have been permanently impeached. Without looking at the intricacies and the different details and the different circumstances, just statistically, the chance of Governor Fubara being impeached is 1% if we take history as an antecedent. That's number one. Number two, it was always going to be clear that there are so many, as Rufai would say, hegemonic powers involved here, that one move was going to be checked by a response. There's no way they will do such a thing and he will just sit quietly somewhere and take it. So now we are starting to see the power play. We're seeing organizations such as PANDEF also coming in to try and resolve this issue amicably. We're also seeing the creation of a committee that's supposed to be a reconciliation committee who are saying that, well, they believe that they have the ears of both parties involved and that whatever settlement is reached will be adhered to. In the past, we saw that the elders of River State were unable to create any lasting peace. And so now we are seeing some of the assembly members, well, we don't know who has appealed to them to make this U-turn. Some are even going as far as saying the presidency has waded in on this issue and has said that the process should be stopped. However, Dr. Enemi George, he was the chairman of the House Committee on Information and Petitions, is saying that, number one, he is doubling down on the fact that Fubara has been served. Other reports are saying that he had traveled, and then after traveling, he went to Abuja, so that he hasn't been physically in the state for him to be able to be served. That's what other reports are saying. Other reports, also from Dr. George, are saying that beyond what we're seeing here, that there are threats, that they've been told that the courts are going to be weaponized, that there's an ex parte order that's going to be issued to stop the impeachment process. That's them, sort of raising alarm of what they think will happen next. But at the core of this, I think, is a negotiation that's going to take place. We know that there are 2 individuals who want something out of this, the sitting governor and the former governor. It's now going to be a question of when they sit down at the table, will everybody be able to get their own piece of the pie? Highly unlikely, because it seems that what Governor Nyesom Wike wants is being regarded as an overreach by the person currently in power. We listened to former Governor Ayo Fayose this morning saying, well, the person who put you there, you should always be submissive to that person. You should always be grateful and appreciative. That's what they say in the political circles. But we here are looking for an accountable democracy. And we're saying that when somebody is in office, that person should be allowed to function and operate not to the whims of a godfather, but to the good of the people. And the people of River State are ultimately those who are suffering most from this entire debacle. Right. And that's one angle of it. The other angle, which we were sort of bantering about here before we started commenting on air, is that these allegations have been brought forward. 8 allegations of gross misconduct. Now, again, the commentary is saying that, temper peace. Impeachment should be a last resort constitutional remedy and not something that you throw around to try and sort of implement some type of show of power. However, other people are saying that the State House of Assembly is allowed to make allegations, and Governor Fubara does not operate under impunity, and he should be investigated, and that process should happen. So several chips falling, but ultimately, I don't think he will be impeached. I think there will be a peace, even though it may be peace of the graveyard, there will be a peace settlement reached. But 2027 is where the real cocoa of the matter will be played out. Before 2027 primaries, we'll know whether he's the man for the next second term or not.
Very interesting. And as Wimbai said, we'll keep talking about 2027, because now let's talk about the big question on former presidential candidate Peter Obi's mind. Where is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? It's also the title of a detailed post on X, where Obi wrote on Monday, where he highlights the fact that the president spent 196 days abroad in 2025. For context, that's more than half of the year outside Nigeria. Now, this is the tweet, and I'll read it in part. He says, "This lack of presence starkly contrasts with what we see in comparable developing nations where leaders step up in times of crisis. In Nigeria, after U.S. military strikes on our soil, our president remained silent. Instead of directly addressing the nation, Nigerians learned about these critical events from foreign media, from Americans, and vague communications from aides rather than from their own leader. Are we to believe that Nigeria is being governed, or is it merely being managed from elsewhere? Leadership isn't simply about issuing press releases. It's about standing before the people, engaging with them, and offering clarity. Nigerians are eager to hear from their president through direct media briefings. They deserve to understand the state of their country. In a time of crisis, the absence of leadership is not just troubling, it's perilous. Silence in the face of crisis is the loudest form of failure." Now, Obi also highlights the fact that he would want the president to engage more with the media. But what's interesting is the fact that historically, there really haven't been that many Nigerian presidents that have been open when it comes to directly engaging with the public or being willing to conduct one-on-one interviews with the press. And Dr. Abati, I'll come to you.
Jonathan did better. Jonathan
Exactly, which is why, Dr. Abati, I'll come to you on this. Peter Obi's statements.
Mr. Peter Obi is asking, where is the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Well, the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is currently in Abu Dhabi on the invitation of the president of the United Arab Emirates, UAE, attending what is known as the Abu Dhabi Sustainability Week. And the theme of that conference, January 11 to 15, is the Nexus of Nest. All systems go. Before then, the president of Nigeria traveled on December 28 to Europe, we were told. But we later discovered that he was in France. And it was from France that he has now arrived at an important, foreign policy event. And there's nothing wrong in that regard. But the major grouse of Mr. Peter Obi is that in 2025, the president spent 196 days out of 365 days abroad. And that, more or less, he became an absentee president. And that this year, his warning is that absenteeism should not be the approach to governance. That presence is very important. He said, we demand presence. He says being absent is not governance, it is neglect. Okay, Mr. Peter Obi, where is he coming from? He's a leader of the opposition. He's an opposition political figure. So he will naturally raise questions, interrogate government. So he's doing what he's supposed to do, to draw attention to things. But the truth of the matter, as he also pointed out, is that there are issues on the ground in Nigeria. And we need the president, he says, to be more on the ground to address those issues, the crisis, which is the word that he used, instead of traveling all over the world and being absent. As I've said, this is an opposition political leader drawing attention to what he considers a major omission. But you can be sure that, Mr. Ononuga or other spokespersons of the government, Sunday Dare and the rest of them, we have a ready answer for him to say that, well, whether he's in Europe or he's in Abu Dhabi, the president is still serving the interest of Nigeria. But I think there are other Nigerians too, apart from Mr. Obi, who will say that, we love our president so much. We would like him to be more visible at home rather than traveling abroad. But I think the caveat to that is that this government has been, active enough in telling us at any particular time where the president is. Now, whether he travels too often or he travels with too large a delegation, those are other questions. And as for the delegation, the president has also addressed that previously. But I always say that the president of Nigeria is the chief foreign policy officer of the country. And, a government that is looking for investment, that is trying to engage with the world, that is trying to have the Nigerian voice out there, you cannot run away from this kind of situation.
Right.
But Mr. Peter Obi said there was no New Year message because the president was not around. But it's a popular, kind of a concern.
Okay, very quickly.
Very quickly, literally a couple of sentences. The president attended this Abu Dhabi Sustainability Summit last year, 2025. Two outcomes. The first was that we were promised that the president of UAE was to visit Nigeria within the year. Of course, that hasn't happened. We're wondering, hopefully this year in this visit, we can get an update. The second thing was that Nigeria and UAE signed the KEPA deal, Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, which was supposed to create an investment and trade framework between the two countries. That was the sort of big takeaway from the summit last year. 1 year later, that agreement still hasn't been signed. So I'm hoping that as we are going back a year later, that maybe this year, at the second visit, second time round, maybe we can get this agreement signed.
Very key point.
And Dr. Abati, he has never always told us where he went. This last one, no.
Present-minded in issuing press releases.
No, Dr. Abati.
Which Mr. Obi says is just the press release and propaganda.
Dr. Abati, he has never always told us where he went. This last one he went, he said Europe. Europe is not the name of a place. It was when, after they wanted to show that he was working and they released the photos that they used AI to spruce up, that they showed us that he was in France eating lunch. We didn't know he was in France.
And he met with the president of Rwanda.
That was when they wanted to show us off that he was working, that he was at least doing something, having meetings. Then they now showed us he was in France. They didn't tell us he was in Europe. In fact, they were very ambivalent about mentioning the word that is going to France. And with due respect, please, public disclosure, I don't know. What's the thing about France? France. You know why I'm saying this? Because we had this ordeal too with President Buhari of blessed memory. UK. That is even his handlers then had to come and justify and say he's been using a doctor for over 30-something years and all of that. What was this thing? That was how President Buhari spent many days abroad. You see, a nation that truly wants to grow, we should be able to introspect. The leaders must be on ground to get the work.
Right.
Nigeria is fast looking like Cameroon. That the president of Cameroon, in fact, he's a resident abroad.
Yes.
He's just coming to do election, winning votes, and going back to Geneva or Switzerland. If Obi says the president spent over 190 days, he took 46 trips, is that not a cause for concern? Because with all the trips we are seeing, we are not seeing any foreign investment. Vimbai, God bless you for bringing out some of the promises based on the trip. We didn't see anything out of the trip.
Maybe it's gone back to
2024 too. If I'm going to check this, I'm sure he spent over 100 days abroad the year before. For good measure, with our own command, with our own private jet, with our jets now that they have allocated about $10 billion to in the space of since he got to power up to this time. I mean, 10 billion naira to be able to fix. Then over $150 million that they used to budget, that the National Assembly keeps claiming it didn't pass through us. This is our own national commonwealth. Somebody should not use our own money, for sweatshop or something. Please, we should be realistic.
Right.
All this job getting about, we should stay at home and get the job done.
Vimbai saying the agreement that was signed, we haven't seen the result. That's not the responsibility of the president. We have a Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I've said again and again on this table that Ministry of Foreign Affairs has lost most of its best hands.
Right.
Its golden era has passed. When you sign an MOU, there are desk officers with assigned responsibilities who are supposed to follow through. It's not the president that will carry MOU and be pursuing it. That is the job of other officers. So that's how foreign policy works, either in Nigeria or elsewhere.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And I think the prompter needs to go up one story. Thank you. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right. So from there, let's head to Sokoto State, where a new video is circulating on social media, which emerged on Monday evening that shows a sizable group of residents of the Tidi Bale village in Isa local government area escaping to save their lives after the notorious terrorist leader Bello Turji announced his plans to control several villages in the state's eastern district. Now, in this video that will play now, dozens of people are seen carrying what looks like their life's belongings. And if we can pull up that video of cars and people carrying all of their belongings, all of which seem to be headed in the same direction. At one point, you can even see a military officer facilitating their escape, and a different village called Bargaja in the same local government area was also targeted days ago. And all of this is because of Turji, the bandit leader, stating his intent to dominate this region. Now, this video comes as the former governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, confirmed the fact that this mass movement of people and families in the state out of fear is happening as we speak. Tambuwal made these comments yesterday on Arise News Primetime with Charles Aniagolu. Let's watch.
As I said, to be moving to the local government headquarters for fear of bandits attacking them in Sokoto State.
Yeah, it's been happening randomly, not only in Isa, in Sabon Birni, in Goronyo. Even in my senatorial district in Shagari, we have had similar situation where most villages in Shagari local government left their villages and settled in Shagari township itself. And of course, it's been happening in Kebbi and in Dangishuni, in Torita, in my own senatorial district. So it's correct that that we have that situation in Isa. And a number of local governments, including Rabah and Wurlo in the eastern flank of the state. That information is correct.
Yes, and I'll just quickly come to you on this, Rufai, because we have the former governor confirming the fact that this migration out of fear is happening. I mean, we know that Nigeria already has an internally displaced people problem, but now this video and the former governor are confirming it.
You're telling me about it. I've been working with IDPs for over 10 years in partnership with CESO Foundation and my own outfits. I know the plight of IDPs. I work with them. There's a lot of loss. And where's the president? So you think these people, if they have the chance, they can go and sit in France and also have holiday? But the president is nowhere to be found. It's not a failure of government. When we say Nigeria has failed now, they think we are joking. Look at Bello Turji. Look at what he's doing. Till today, we've not been able to track him down. Look at the level of insecurity. Just yesterday, I was watching on Arise about Obajana. Anyway, that one, kudos to the police. They said the police was trying to root them out. You know, they were having airstrikes against them. I think we reported and we commended them for. Because of that, those sleeper cells of the bandits, they came. And there was a shootout for over 5 hours in Obajana town. But kudos to our valiant police and military forces in security. Look at Kwara. The other day, we brought a picture of a woman protesting, and what happened? They were rounded up in front of the government house. Look at the insecurity in Kwara. Should I continue? Look at Ekpoma. Insecurity, parts of the north. Even look at even up to parts of the south here. cases of kidnapping and all of that. So, and you have a president of such a country, and his handlers will tell you he went to Europe. Because they can't mention that France, because they know when they mention France, we'll say, Otitu law. And the president of this same country, an airstrike happened. You could even tell you, Trump was even more proactive. Because people that are so quick to compare Nigeria, anyway, I don't even mind those ones that compare Nigeria with America. How many times have you seen Trump just getting around? How many times have you seen Trump just getting around? So, and in fact, I just checked for good measure. The first 17 months of the administration, he spent 124 days abroad. So plus this another, the last 1 year, that will be talking about 196 days. So 196 plus 124.
November 2025.
196 plus 124. Do the maths.
It's almost a year.
So you can see what we are saying.
Right.
And when a leader is doing this, there are lacunas everywhere. When we say this, as we have said it now, the first thing his handlers will say is that at first we are enemies of Nigeria. We hate Nigeria. We are demarketing. Then the next thing they will start abuse. Like maybe it's the abuse that will capture Bello Tuji. Then Mr. Bayo Onanuga will now write, Bitter Obi. Bitter Obi is this, is that. I wish the abuse, Mr. Bayo Onanuga abuse Peter Obi, will capture Bello Tuji. I'll be happy and stop being security.
Right. On that note, let's now take our next report under milestones, where today we're remembering the life of Babatunde Akran, the Akran of Badagry, whose passing was announced on Monday at the age of 89. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stated that he provided visionary and purposeful leadership for over 40 years, leaving a track record of harmony, tolerance, and prosperity for his people. Now, the Akran of Badagry was on the throne for almost 49 years, making him one of the longest-serving traditional rulers in Lagos State. But he also had an illustrious career before ascending to the throne, with his career starting as a teacher where he taught at various schools in Badagry before going into journalism. In 1961, he began his career at the West African Pilot as the diplomatic correspondent, then as chief reporter for the Post Group of newspapers. He then joined the Daily Sketch and New Nigeria newspapers, where he eventually became acting news editor. By 1976, his appointment as Akran of Badagry was approved by the Executive Council of Lagos, with the coronation ceremony taking place in April of 1977 in accordance with tradition. May his soul rest in peace. And finally, let's take our good news report, where a Nigerian defense startup known as